course. Kamala Harris's campaign is, well, I was going to say on life support, but it's like less than life support. It's like, what do you call it, flatline? All right, here we go. 30 seconds. Here we go. If you're on hold, hang in there.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with...
All righty, welcome back one and all to another week. It's Tuesday, although it feels like Monday because yesterday was Labor Day. But we are back here live on the radio this morning. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, and we have a lot to cover today. This Labor Day weekend has been the most disastrous for a presidential campaign in history. Kamala Harris's campaign has a devastating event happen pretty much every couple of hours, it seems. Things may happen while we're on the air today. Things are getting so bad. So we're going to go through all of that. We will take your calls. If you are on hold, stand by. We'll get to the calls in just a little bit. But I first want to talk about what has happened in Israel. An American hostage was murdered by Hamas terrorists. Yeah. I know they're not really highlighting that point. They want to say 6 Israeli hostages. One of them was an American citizen. And, of course, Israel is America's ally. And I'm listening to the news this morning. The news are just sick, perverted, twisted souls, I must say. They're gearing up for these protests at the universities because college is back. And they're talking in particular about Columbia University in New York City, where they had those huge pro-Hamas protest last school year. School's back, and they're gearing up for it. Now, I want you to understand, put this in context. 6 Jews that were murdered by terrorists have a large group of supporters who are going to lead demonstrations in New York City. That's what they're telling us in the news at Columbia University. One of them an American citizen. Now, I want you to think about this. You know, what happened, they were murdered by terrorists, no doubt about it. They were civilians all, okay, which makes it terrorism. But to use, to talk like these liberals, so liberals can understand, the 6 that were murdered by the terrorist, including the American citizen, were obviously victims of terrorism, right? They were murdered by terrorists. But to use some American phrases that liberals might understand, that Democrats talk about a lot, they were also lynched by Hamas, using an American term. I want you to think about this. Now remember, every black man lynched in America was a Republican. Don't forget that. And every man who did the lynching was a Democrat. But I want you to think about this. If back in the days when Democrats were lynching black civil rights leaders, and by the way, they weren't just lynching civil rights leaders. There's been some high-profile incidents that they made movies about. But there were a lot of lynchings of just regular people. Regular black people were lynched on a very regular basis by the Democrats. It was so bad, Democrats were lynching so many blacks that senators in the 30s were trying to pass federal anti-lynching laws because the local Democrat-controlled governments wouldn't do anything about it. And President Roosevelt, FDR, the Democrat one, not the Republican Teddy, Franklin Roosevelt refused to support federal anti-lynching legislation because he was afraid it would cost him Democrat votes in the South. Okay, that's how sick the Democrats are. So back in the days when Democrats were lynching black people, could you imagine if there was a protest at a university in support of the lynchings? Because that's what they're planning at Columbia. 6 Jews were murdered, one of them an American citizen. And the news is acting as if, and the school as well, is acting as if it is legitimate protest to have Hamas supporting students have a protest supporting the murder, the lynching of 6 Jews in Gaza over the weekend. It's pretty sick stuff. But that's what they're talking about doing. Shame on the media for not calling this out. They're excited, the media, because it gives them something to show, and the media, since they're based in New York, want to drive over there and show it and be on the scene. Columbia University should be closed. They should go back to remote learning instead of allowing these perversions that are about to happen take place. You know, when thank you very much, I appreciate it. Thank you. Back when they were the Democrats lynching African Americans in this country, certainly there were mass protest movements of civil rights leaders who, on occasion, would come out. You know, when I was in college, I wrote an entire research paper on one of the last lynchings. It was in Broward County. Reuben Stacy, look him up. Reuben Stacy, he was lynched by the sheriff of Broward County, a Democrat, and they took pictures. You can find them online. Go and look. I mean, it was a terrible thing. But I don't think there were protests in favor of lynchings on university campuses. Now, there may have been civil rights protests that had the Democrat racist intercede and cause violence, but they didn't go and have protests in favor of lynchings. That's what they're talking about doing at Columbia. Have protests in favor of the murders of 6 Jews, one of them an American citizen in Gaza. That is as sick as it gets, man. And here's Kamala, who doesn't want to comment on it, so she's going around pretending that she's on the phone. She's got a wired earpiece in her ear connected to the phone. Can't take questions, can't hear you, I'm on the phone. First off, in 2024, who's using wired headphones like that? The ones that come for free with the iPhones? Are you kidding? No one uses that. You're trying to look young and hip. You're trying to make people think you're 45, Kamala. We know you're not talking to anyone or listening to anything. You're just avoiding questions. She doesn't want to have to condemn the murders of Jews because if she does that, she might lose some jihadi voters in Michigan. So here we have an American citizen brutally murdered by terrorists in Gaza, and you've got the Democrat nominee for president, Kamala Harris, out there trying to court the vote of the supporters of those who did the murders. Now, if you're a Democrat, I want you to explain this to me. Even if you don't support Israel, these are civilians. You don't kidnap civilians and murder them and then blame them. Even if it was a legitimate war, they're not. It's textbook terrorism, textbook murder, textbook lynching. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on all this. And we got a lot to cover here on this day after Labor Day. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. We're going to take a break and be back right after this.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now.
Cannon on the radio with a quick reminder that if you like music by the Stones, the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Four Seasons, and all those big hits from Motown, this morning, right after 10 a.m., it's all back on the air, right here on South Florida's Truth.
Now, I am going to, I got a different hookup that I'm going to be using for you all to hear the callers and the audio sound bites. So it's going to, I might have to do some adjusting as I'm doing it. But I'm going to start using it with the callers after the break. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. I'll be going to the calls shortly.
You asked Mike Lindell and he listened. Mike's offering the queen-size MyPillow for just $19.98 with our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at MyPillow.com. Plus, you could get the 6-piece MyPillow towel set for just $25. The bed sheets, they're $25 too. The new MyPillow mattress topper as low as $69.98. Go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code KANE for these huge discounts. You can also order by phone. 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com.
Love the outdoors and the open road? Don't miss RV Out, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Hosted by
All right, callers on hold, hang in there.
and CEO Larry McNamara and his co-host Blaine Adams. RV Out, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. right here on the True Oldies channel.
Men, just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older.
Oh, this is my wife.
West Del Rey,
Dr. Mitch Matez, an expert in hormone
It's
replacement
Kathy.
therapy, is here to help you reclaim your youth. Hormone replacement therapy is all natural and can restore your hormones to where they were in your 20s. You'll feel younger, have more energy, and even get your sex drive back. And for women, hormone replacement pellet therapy can completely stop and reverse the signs and symptoms of menopause. No more mood swings, better sleep, and no more night sweats. Call Dr. Matez for a free consultation today at 561-320-8893.
That's 561-320.
Okay, so I'm going to I have a new setup for the phone calls. If you hear the audio,
Brian Craig.
there'll be a little learning curve on it,
FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM.
so you got to bear with me.
Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at True Oldies FLA.
All righty, welcome back, one and all. 18 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. It's the day after Labor Day. We are back here live, and I just checked the MyPillow website. Let me double check this. Yes, it is still there. They've not updated it yet. There is a Labor Day special, and I can't tell you how long this is going to be here. It could disappear at any time because they're going to update the special. They have a Labor Day mattress sale special, and I just went to the website. It is still there. My wife and I don't know if it's been 2 weeks or 3 weeks now, we've been sleeping on our new MyPillow mattress. We got it for 50% off using the promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. And that mattress is amazing. We got the one, it's a mix of coil and foam. I've not had a coil mattress since I was a kid, and this mattress is amazing. It even has, I don't know how it does this, but it feels like it's got lumbar support to me in it. But you're going to get a better deal than we got. With our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, this is a Labor Day weekend special. It's still there on the website. You can get a MyPillow mattress for 50% off, plus another $100 off of that with our promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. It's a pretty good deal. I would take advantage of it right away. I do not know how long that is going to be there. Promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. Get your MyPillow mattress for 50% off and another $100 off of that 50% off. All right, we're going to go to the phones. There's only one opening on our board at 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie. The MyPillow mattress, by the way, the coils are the strength of the coils. Some are stiffer than others. Mm-hmm. Getting lumbar.
It's amazing.
Lumbar.
I am. It's not just my imagination. It's wild.
No, it's the way they make the springs. Like summer, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But in the position of your body. All right, now we're going to get to the nitty-gritty. Brian, you know, I agree 100% with everything you say. I'm 99% of the time, and I'm sure that 99% of the listeners here agree too, because we're Republicans, most of us that listen to you. The fact of the matter is that the Democrats have the Muslim community, the Democrats, they don't vote for a candidate. You had mentioned in your podcast that what would Kamala run on? She's running on being a Democrat. They vote just Democrat. They don't care who the person is. Democrat, it's get out to vote. We have to vote these people out of office. We have to show up in masses. That's the bottom line, because there's no logic to any of this.
I mean, listen, for this protest that they're talking about in New York City, it's a protest to celebrate the murder of 6 Jews, one of them an American citizen. And here you have Kamala Harris, who's pretending to be on her phone talking to someone, so she doesn't have to ignore questions. It's a sickness that she has.
Yeah, they also asked her running mate. They asked him at the state fair in Minnesota yesterday, and he ran away from the room. He did.
Yeah, it was on Saturday. They asked Tim Walz about it, and he pretended not to even hear the question. He just walked away, even though he heard it.
He talked about a pork chop. Then he talked about a pork chop. I mean, this whole thing is. First of all, they had a demonstration, I believe, yesterday in New York, the Palestinians, and they're full of Democrats. It's a matter of Democrats don't care who they have no morals. They vote for whoever, as long as there's a D there. They vote straight ticket. They don't know nothing. They're just going to vote Democrat.
Well, but yesterday, Kamala had a campaign event yesterday, very small group inside, like all of her things, and there was a mass protest outside of these jihadi protesters. There were more people protesting Kamala than were inside the venue, and they were all these Hamas supporters. And this was because she's not supporting, I guess, openly enough the jihadi side.
First of all, there's no equality here, folks. You got to understand, Hamas is a terrorist organization. Israel is a state. The United States for years said, let's not negotiate with terrorists. And you know why? Because if they kidnapped these people and they executed them, they shot them in the head, by the way. Mm-hmm. Shot them in the head.
Yeah. After they made them make videos.
Yeah, they don't care about life. They just absolutely don't care about life. They are. Think about this. If Israel gives up right now after all this and walks away, like Biden wants them to do because of an election, okay? Because he could care less about hostages. He left all these Americans in Afghanistan behind enemy lines. He didn't give a damn about Americans then. He don't care about. He just cares about votes. So does she. They are.
Yeah, but they're out there. I mean, think about it. The sad 23rd anniversary of September 11th is coming up, and here we have the Democrat candidate for president of the United States is trying to get the vote of Muslims. Those are the ones that jihadi supporters, the ones that knock down the buildings. What does that say about the Democrats today?
It says they're garbage, and it also says that you know why that they made a big stink about the grave sites at Arlington National Cemetery with President Trump showing. Mm-hmm. And they don't want people to be reminded of the total disaster that they had 3 years ago.
That's right.
Let's not talk about it.
All right. That's right. All right, Richie, I'm going to move on, but thanks for the call. All right, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Renee from Harlem.
Oh, up early or up late? Which is it?
Yeah, Brienne, you have to stop being a racist for just a day. Try it. It would be good. Try to pronounce the president's name correctly.
The who? Whose name?
The president.
Joe Biden?
Kamala Harris.
She's not the president.
Oh, yes, she is. She will be very, very...
She's not the president. Kamala Harris.
Pamela.
Okay, how about this? Okay, how about this? I'm going to try to pronounce it right. Hold on. I'm going to try to pronounce her name right now. How about this? Instead of Kamala, how about this? Kamala. How about that? Kamala.
Well, your name is more like Brienne, isn't it?
Whatever. Call me whatever you want, man.
I'll call you a dope.
Here you have an American was shot in the head, dead by terrorists, and you're upset about pronouncing her name?
He didn't belong there. And frankly...
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Slow down. Excuse me. The American who... slow down. The American did... What did you say? He didn't belong where?
Well, shut up and let me explain and interrupting, okay?
Explain to me what you mean by he shouldn't have been there.
Will you shut up and let me...
Oh, my goodness. You're going to respond to what I said. You're going to respond to my question, or I'll move on. Okay.
Interrupting. He was not supposed to be there.
That's right. He was kidnapped. He was kidnapped and brought to Gaza against his will and held hostage.
Belong there.
Yeah, they kidnapped him.
He is not an...
Oh, really? But you belong in Harlem? Harlem used to belong to the Indians. What are you doing in Harlem then?
Right.
Well, then leave.
When I get my reparations...
When you get your reparations. You are telling us, that he deserved to die because he shouldn't have been there in Israel? And while you're in occupied Native American Indian territory in Harlem? You better rethink your talking points.
You think my people asked to be here?
Did I ask to be here?
I'm not asking you.
You know, I live in Florida, okay? I didn't decide to move to Florida. My parents brought me here. They didn't ask me. I guess I'm a Florida dreamer. Goodbye. That's just too stupid to even talk to. Of course he didn't belong there. He was kidnapped by the Hamas terrorist, brought to Gaza, and held there for about a year before they murdered him. Oh my goodness. If you're on hold, hang in there. Little first day back after a holiday. Look what we got here, guys. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. I think the new setup for the calls is better. I still got to work on it a little bit. But, yeah. Okay, hold on, I gotta...
Good. Full rest of your Tuesday. Full rest of your Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning.
That's Mike's weather report I'm editing. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back shortly. All right. How do you like, he didn't like how I pronounced Kamala, so I said, what about this? Kamala? How about that? Was that better? Call sound better? Okay. Yeah, he was yelling. A little early to be yelling, yeah.
Low T keeping you on the bench? Become the superstar you dream of being at Game Day Men's Health. With expert licensed staff trained with clinical research, Game Day Men's Health crafts a playbook specialized for you to raise your testosterone levels and reach peak performance. Rejuvenate, energize, and feel like a champion with increased muscle mass and libido.
Yep, I just sent it to you, yeah.
here from Laporta Contracting, Roofing, and Building Restoration. I am pleased to say our relationship with the Steve Kane Show and the show's listeners keeps getting stronger.
All right. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. He's going to stay till he gets his reparations. That means he's never leaving.
Honest, and quite a joy to work. We have completed thousands of
I like how he thinks he didn't ask to come here. Which of us did? We were all born here. I mean, you know, unless you're an immigrant like Melania.
We have installed all kinds of roofs, from asphalt shingles, clay and concrete tile, standing metal seam, slate tile, and flat roof systems. So come on and let our family take care of your family. Call me on my cell at 954-604-4602 or find us on the web at laportacontracting.com. The number again is 954-604-4602.
Funny, I think it's weak. Let's see.
Are you living your best life? Are you feeling the way you know you should be? This is John, CFO at Lighthouse Medical Center. Our hormone optimization therapy programs have helped so many people get back to feeling the way they did in their 20s. They're full of energy after a long day, reduced their risk of heart disease, sexual vigor and excitement are great, sleeping the way they should without disturbances, and reducing their symptoms of aging. Our all-natural hormone optimization therapy is precise, easy, and effective from day one. Office visits are usually less than 5 times per year, and the cost is only $150 per month for most patients. Let our medical team get you optimized and living your best life. Our family medical practice has been serving South Florida for over 71 years. Let us show you what personalized medical care and being treated like family feels like. Call us at 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. Or visit us at lighthousemedicalcenter.com to schedule your consultation today.
And now a message from Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com.
This is Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com. I'm back. Dog days of summer are upon us.
Let's see.
Running constantly, trying to hold the temperature, maybe even failing late afternoon. Your electric bill has gone up, even double. Radiant barrier is the cure. Stop the heat gain, lowering the temperatures in the attic up to 40 degrees. Cutting the
If you're on hold, hang in there.
40%. Dog days of summer sales. 50% on radiant barrier and insulation, insulation removal, rat proofing. We even do AC ducts in the heat of the summer. Act now and get $500 off radiant barrier over 2,000 square feet and $1,000 off over 4,000 square feet, plus a 30% federal tax credit. So call now 954-939-1500 to save big.
That can't be right.
954-939-1500 and talk to the owner Scott. It's 954-939-1500 or cutmykilowatts.com. Estimates given on the phone, work done in days, not weeks. Easier than ordering a pizza.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show. Celebrating 40.
All right, 34 minutes after the hour. I am Brian. It is the day after Labor Day. We are back live. Our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. This is Kenny from Islamorada.
Kenny in Almirada. What's up?
Hey, Brian. How are you this morning?
All right.
You know, unfortunately, maybe not in my lifetime and maybe not in yours, I think the Muslims will also take over the United States just like they have the European countries. I don't know what the answer to that is because they breed like.
Come on. You know, this is that. You know, I must tell you this. One thing I like about getting older, okay? One thing I like about getting older, I don't have to dump that, is you get more, not only do you get more perspective, you experience more things and see what happens. Seminar callers, okay, that are always trying to, you know, there's, what seminar callers are about, there's a couple of different things that seminar callers do, okay? One, they try to get an agenda out. That's a big one, right? We talk about seminar callers. Wesley used to talk about seminar callers. And another one is they try to get you jammed up. And you hear what that guy said? These Democrats, the late, great Rush Limbaugh. This is like one of my favorite all-time quotes of Rush Limbaugh. The Democrats have an old, worn-out playbook, and every election they use the same worn-out playbook. What that guy just said right there, word for word, except the ethnicities changed. All he did was change the ethnicities, is what the Democrats used with Bob Grant. Yeah, remember Bob Grant? Bob Grant, one of the greats of New York City radio. Okay, Steve took me out to dinner with Bob Grant once. And Bob Grant, it was one of the greats of all time in the history of radio nationally, but certainly New York radio. He got a call from a seminar caller that used that script word for word with the ethnicities changed. Instead of Muslim, it was Haitians, because there was a Haitian immigrant issue in New York at the time. I don't remember the exact year. And as great as Bob Grant was, and he certainly was, he fell for traps a little bit more than I do, and he started having a discussion with the guy. And what they do with the seminar callers like that, see, the seminar callers fail, at least with me, is because they try to, I've been around long enough, and I heard that exact script with Bob Grant back in 1990-something. It was in the early to mid-90s. Does anyone remember when he was on WOR Radio, New York City? Does anyone remember when that was? It had to be, oh my goodness, before you were born probably. What year were you born, Mike? 96? Oh yeah, it was before you were born. But it was like, it had to be like 94, 95, when the guy called in with the exact same thing, word for word, except for Muslims, he was talking about Haitians. And what the seminar callers do is they call in with these things, and they're recording, and they're trying to get you to get into a conversation with them about it. And they fall apart because they're fake conservatives, and the way they pass themselves off is through the stereotype that as a liberal they have of conservatives, so it falls apart. And Bob Grant got in a lot of trouble because of that, and I'm just a little wiser, these seminar callers. What a bunch of twisted people. Now, the guy may call back and try to tell me, no, I'm not, I'm real. No, you're a seminar caller. What a day. I tell you, first day back, it's not even 7 a.m. yet. It's not even 6:40. It's only 6:38 in the morning, and things are getting pretty wild around here. I don't know. It's just, whew. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. My name is Cheryl. I'm from Florida.
Hey, Cheryl.
And unfortunately, this whole mess I think it's the fault of our present administration.
Uh-huh. Which mess are you talking about? There's so many messes. You got to be more specific.
I'm talking about the October 7th and the events that have...
Oh, yes, the attack on Israel, yes.
Yes, because we have always been a firm supporter of Israel through most of our history, and now the policy of our government is to coddle the terrorists who are marching through the streets here in America and to criticize Israel for being too determined to defend its right to exist.
Mm-hmm.
And the world has picked up on this.
Yep.
And these terrorists are trying to make anti-Semitism mainstream throughout the world. And I think they're succeeding because the United States is coddling the terrorists here.
Mm-hmm.
People tend to follow the example of the United States, and at the same time, they're criticizing Israel for wanting to protect people and their security.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
Netanyahu would have won this war a long time ago if...
Well, listen, here I want you to think about what's going on here with Kamala Harris, okay? Kamala Harris is trying to get the vote in Michigan for the people that not only support this terrible thing that's happening in Israel, but the people that were cheering the collapse of the World Trade Center. You know, the anniversary of September 11th is coming up, and she's trying to get the vote of, you know, the Al Qaeda supporters. I mean, what does that say? What has happened to the Democrat Party after 9/11? The Democrat Party were on our side, the side of America, for a while. It's disgusting.
It is.
All right. I appreciate the call. Yeah, I mean, this is as bad as it gets, people. You're on the radio. You're on the air.
Hey,
No, didn't I tell you he was going to call back? No, you're not welcome, Kenny. You're not welcome, okay? And it takes didn't I tell you he's going to call back and try to explain himself? See, I got a good ear, don't I? I'm telling you, I know these people. I've been doing this for a long time. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Yeah, why are you singing?
Oh, I wasn't sure if I was on or not. How you doing this weekend?
This weekend, it's Tuesday, man. Well, I guess when you're a bum like you, every day's the weekend.
No, the Memorial Day weekend.
It's over. It's the first day of the week. It's Tuesday. It's the day everybody's back to work today that has jobs.
Well, I work 2 jobs, so
I know you work 2 jobs. I know.
And let me tell you something. If
nobody cares about you, Al. Why'd you call today? What's on your mind? Why'd you call? And I got a question for you too, but I'll let you go first.
Okay, well, Robert Kennedy looking for validation is going to end up hurting the campaign of Trump.
Okay, well then you should be happy. Then you should be welcoming Bobby Kennedy. You should be celebrating his involvement with the Trump organization. Then
absolutely, he dropped a bear in Central Park after digesting part of it. I mean, this is really individual.
Yeah. What do you think about Ted Kennedy? Was he a good guy, a good senator?
He's a good senator, but
he killed a woman. He killed a woman. Okay, but he was a good guy. But Bobby Kennedy Jr. killed a bear, and that makes him bad. Which is worse, killing a bear or killing a woman?
You know something? He wasn't responsible for his actions because the man was drunk.
He was drunk? You mean I could get drunk and kill people and it's okay? I'm not responsible? That's not how it works. See what I mean? You kill a bear, you're a bad guy. You kill a girl if you're a Democrat and you're a good guy. What a sicko, man. You don't even have the good sense to say the right thing.
Mary Jo Kopechne has been dead for more than 50 years.
Yeah. She'd be a grandmother today. Maybe she would be a grandmother or great-grandmother. Ted Kennedy stole the woman's whole life away from her. Now, I got a question for you. In a sentence, I got a question for you. I got a question. This is an easy one. This is an easy one, even for you. In one sentence, why is Kamala Harris running for president?
Because she's the most qualified for the job. She will be a great president.
No. That's not a reason. What is her agenda? I didn't ask why. Excuse me. I didn't ask why you're voting for her. If I were to say to Kamala, if Kamala Harris were on the phone instead of you, okay, and I would say, Madam Vice President, why are you running for president? What would she say?
We will appoint an attorney general that has cojones instead of the one we have right now. If we had an attorney general with cojones, Trump would...
That's why she's running for president? I haven't heard her say that. You know, the reality is she's never said why she's running for president.
Yes, she has.
Really? When did she say this? I missed it. When did she say this? When did she tell us why she's running? President Trump wants to make America great again.
That's Trump's model. Let's tear people down. That's a leader, yeah.
No, we're not talking about Trump. We're talking about Kamala. You said that Kamala Harris has explained why she's running for president? I missed it. When was this? And what exactly did she say?
Trump is qualified to...
We're not talking about Trump. I know you want to talk about Trump. We're talking about Kamala.
You know something? Your show is getting old with your love for Trump. That's all you think about. And you need some real help come November when he loses, okay? And
yeah, but I'm trying. No. You said that the show is getting old. It's stale because we're talking about Trump. And I'm trying to talk to you about not Trump. Excuse me. You said that the show is getting old and stale because we're talking about Trump. I've been trying to get you to talk about Kamala Harris, not Trump, and you keep going back to Trump.
Understanding wife, because you spend most of your time in bed hugging your Trumpy bear.
See, notice, I mean, you want to talk about anything other than your candidate.
Kamala Harris is going to win so big.
Did you see that? Did you see that? I'm sure you've seen the story with Kamala Harris's dreamers, that the Venezuelan gangbangers that took over that apartment building in Colorado. Do you know a group of Kamala's dreamers? A group of Kamala's dreamers have taken over an apartment building in Chicago.
Yeah. You're blaming immigration on Kamala. How original.
Well, she's the border czar.
She's not. Trump killed the bill.
What bill?
Bill.
What bill? You don't need a bill. You don't need a bill to protect the country. They already have the authority and the resources to do it. All right, Al. You're lucky. We're late for the break. You're off the hook. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Callers on hold. Stand by. Back after this.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Hey everyone, Brian Craig here. You asked Mike Lindell and he listened. Mike's offering the queen-size MyPillow for just $19.98 with our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at MyPillow.com. Plus, you can get the 6-piece MyPillow towel set for just $25. The bed sheets, they're $25 too. The new MyPillow mattress topper as low as $69.98. Go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code KANE for these huge discounts. You can also order by phone. 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com.
Oh, yeah.
Al and Renee,
Yep. Insane.
Everything homemade, nothing comes out of a can. Dozens of specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road.
Love the outdoors and the open road? Don't miss RV Hour, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Hosted by Giant Recreation World second-generation owner and CEO Larry McNamara and his co-host Wayne Adams. RV Hour.
If you're on hold, hang in there, guys.
Right here on the True Oldies Channel.
Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive? Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire and Margate on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you a tire. They'll mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30. Call for a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All righty, if you're on hold, hang in there. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. You know, yesterday, Labor Day, I got a notification from my doorbell camera. I was home, and there was someone right outside my door, and they obviously did not think I was home. Someone in my neighborhood was walking their dog and letting their dog go number 2 right in my front yard. I couldn't believe it. And I saw him do it. So you know what I did? I opened up the door and pretended I was taking out the trash. They picked it up and left, which I don't think they were going to do. They didn't think anyone was home. Yeah, I tell you, that doorbell camera is so convenient. You should have seen that guy when I went out there. Oh, my goodness. But you can get a doorbell camera from Sloman's for free with the installation of your Sloman Shield. You should really take advantage of it. This is a great thing. It's part of my security system. And can also be a lot of fun like it was yesterday. They're not just going to give you the free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Sloman's is going to give you a free customized home security system along with a professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, and a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call, toll free, 1-833-283-5050. 1-833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050. All right. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes. Once. Twice. I heard some breathing. Okay, that's it. See, that's what happens when you call out the seminar callers. Then they start acting out. But that's the way it goes. All right. Now, this weekend was a complete disaster. I'm going to get into some of the specifics with audio sound bites in the next hour, in particular with the Gold Star families that have come out in support of Trump. But Kamala Harris has had more disasters just over this 3-day Labor Day weekend than I've ever seen in a 3-day period from both her and her running mate. You know, Tim Walz was in a car accident yesterday. His motorcade got into a car accident. Multiple people were hurt. One person broke an arm, and he didn't even stop to see if anyone was okay. He just went to his event and had an event like nothing happened. Right? And that's only one of the more mild things that happened over the weekend. But this story that I mentioned to Liberal Al about the Venezuelan gangs, there's a news story. It just broke last night. We don't have too much detail on it, although details are coming. Venezuelan gangs have taken over an apartment building, this time in Chicago. We've seen the videos and heard the stories out of Colorado. Now they've moved on to Chicago. And these guys are scary. I would say they're as violent and as dangerous as Al-Qaeda or ISIS fighters. These are bad guys. And not only did there's all over social media, there's 911 calls from the building. I might play some later. I got to go through them a little bit because people get upset. You got to watch for the language. And what's going on in with this is the beginnings of a drug gang war. They're going into these apartment buildings and taking them over from either the American Hispanic gangs that are already there or the black gangs that are there. This is Chicago we're talking about, okay? Not many white people in those projects in Chicago. They're already controlled by drug gangs, whether they're Latin or black. The Venezuelans are going in to take over. It's a gang war. It's Wild Wild West. The police officers are not equipped to take on something like this. You would need to have the National Guard to take these guys on. I might even think you might need some special forces. I mean, these guys are bad. I mean, they're the scariest of the scary. They're in 2 American cities now doing this. And what's Kamala doing? Walking around pretending to talk to someone on the phone or listening to music or something, so no one asks her about it. And this is all happening as a direct result of her and her policies. And everyone knows this, and it's frightening. You know, and these places where they're doing it, these are where they have some of the strictest gun control laws in America, Chicago. So law-abiding citizens can't even protect themselves like we can here in Florida. They don't have guns. And even if they did, how are you going to fight these guys? You'll be dead in a second. And they won't even care. They'll just throw you out the window and take over your apartment. It's a terrible thing that's going on. You see the American soldiers who had the bags put over their heads and were snatched in Turkey yesterday? An American murdered, shot in the head by Hamas terrorists in Gaza? What's going on here? What's going on is we have incompetent leadership, and Kamala Harris is the incumbent. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, it's Steve from Boca. Brian, how are you?
All righty, Steve. What's up?
All right, 2 points. First, on this caller you have, this fellow Al, I have a very, very good idea about a debate. I think you should take the dumbest kid in the first grade class and set up a debate between him and this fellow Al.
Oh, yeah.
It would be very, very good.
Yes.
The thing is, this fellow Renee, the logic is just unfathomable. When he says that this poor Jewish fellow who was killed didn't belong in that area, you know, there's a lot of good black people in this country, but I got to tell you, the that's native to the black people is Africa. So by his logic, does that mean that he doesn't belong in this country?
Well, first off, I did mention that he is in Harlem, which is formerly Native American Indian territory, but he won't leave till he gets his reparations, he said. But I agree with Renee in a certain point that the 6 Jews that were murdered, including the American, who was one of the 6, didn't belong there. They were being held hostage against their will for almost a year in Gaza. They were there. They were being held hostage for almost a year against their will, and he blames them for being there. They didn't want to be in Gaza. The anti-Semitism has become very normalized in liberal circles in this country. The anti-Semites are out of the closet.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the college kids going back to school now, I'm really very concerned. But I'll tell you one last thing. Donald Trump had a brilliant idea of Gaza. If they got rid of Hamas, just think, that Gaza is right on the Mediterranean Ocean. Think if the Palestinian people and the Jews were working with them and developed that, and really developed that into a tourist area, the money that could be raised to upgrade and improve the lives of those Palestinians would be insane. But with Hamas and
no, it's just like in the days of Arafat. They want them to be impoverished. Okay, remember Arafat? His family lived in Paris like kings. Okay, and he pretended to be poor. All right, take care. Thanks for the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Dave in Boca.
Hey, Dave. What's up?
2 points I want to make. One of them is in line with the last caller. I'm sorry, but I think you give Renee too much attention and too much time. He's abusive to you. He's rude, and it doesn't add anything to the program.
Oh no, I think it adds a lot to the program, and I'll tell you what I think it adds. You can say what you want about Renee, and I'm not disagreeing with you. He's a terrible racist. He's a nasty person. Okay, and he's a hardcore anti-Semite. But I give him credit for this, his honesty. He says out loud what most Democrats are thinking. And I think his contribution is that he puts in proper light Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and all the other Democrats. That's how they all think. They just have a little more sense and don't vocalize it like he does.
Okay, I understand. The second point I want to make was this whole Hamas thing could be ended very quickly by the administration if they put pressure on Iran and told them to stop Hamas now and release all the hostages.
Oh, I'm sure. Who's going to tell Iran that? Who's going to tell Iran that?
Well, Trump would. That's.
Well, the way you shut down Iran is you drill for oil like a madman here in the United States. Bring down the price and make their oil worth very little money. They'll go broke. They won't be able to fund all this stuff. High oil prices.
You got to get Iran. They're in charge, and Hamas would.
The way you get them is you break them financially, which Trump was on the verge of doing, but Kamala Harris and Joe Biden made them rich again. Hey, appreciate the call. All right, that was a very interesting first hour. There's 2 to go. It is Tuesday, the day after Labor Day. We are back. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. Call us on hold. Stand by. We'll be back with your calls and much more after our top of the hour break.
for same-day AC service and installation. Here's your oldies forecast.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Marone from the All Your Cooling Weather Center. Today is Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024, and right now it's 77 degrees outside. As we go throughout the day, though, temperatures are going to reach as high as 89 degrees with some scattered showers as we go throughout the day as well. So make sure you keep an umbrella close by, stay cool, stay dry, and have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday morning.
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyourcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember,
I think the new setup I have for the callers is working very well. What do you guys think? I gotta turn the air down. It is so freaking hot in here. Oh my goodness, it's 77. $77 degrees. Oh, I just turned the air down. Let's see. If you're on hold, hang in there.
Restaurant. It's feast and football every week with a delicious all-you-can-eat buffet plus a draft beer for just $25. Plus, you can find out how to get it for free by calling 561-683-2222, extension 199. Great food and over 140 HD TVs, 3 big screens, and drink specials every football Sunday. The Paddock is an ultimate dining, events, OTV, and sports experience. Information, ppkennelclub.com.
Is low T keeping you on the bench? Become the superstar you dream of being at Game Day Men's Health with expert licensed staff trained with clinical research. Game Day Men's Health crafts a playbook specialized for you to raise your testosterone levels and reach peak performance. Rejuvenate, energize, and feel like a champion with increased muscle mass and libido. Call 561-355-5341 or online at GameDayMen'sHealth.com/Palm-Beach-Gardens. Score big at Game Day Men's Health.
Don't waste hours and hours waiting at the doctor's office or one of those big labs. Go to Mini Lab Test Now at Boca and get a lab test now at Coral Springs. The prices are guaranteed to be the lowest you'll find anywhere. No appointment, doctor's order, or prescription.
Now, guys, Robert Allen Miltenberg's book is available for free on Kindle Unlimited. There's a link in the description of the video, and I just pinned the link to the top of the chat. You can get this book in Kindle Unlimited for free. Yeah, pretty good deal, huh? If you don't have Kindle Unlimited, though, it's still very affordable. The Sound of Light, Robert Allen Miltenberg's new book, is just $3 on Kindle if you don't have Unlimited, and $9.99 for the paperback. Order yours, all right? All right, callers on hold, stand by. It is 4 minutes after 7. 1 hour down, less than 2 to go. It is the day after Labor Day, and we are back here live. Oh, my goodness. Hope everyone had a great Labor Day weekend. Some of our listeners, the Democrats, don't sound very happy today. Have you noticed how unhappy the Democrats are? I thought all the polls said Kamala's winning. If all the polls say she's winning, why are the Democrats calling me so miserable and nasty and vile? Guess the polls are not right about that. Nate Silver's prediction is, you're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Yes.
You know, first of all, thank you for the good podcast over the weekend. They were great. Anyhow, this comrade Kamala, there she is talking about the Biden legacy. So I guess these people in the gangs that are taking over buildings are going to be part of his legacy.
Yeah.
I heard the gangs, not only are they just taking over, but they're making the tenants pay them the rent and not.
Well, what they're doing is the gang members that in Colorado, now they've moved to a building in Chicago. Okay, what they're doing is they're knocking out the local gangbangers to take over their drug business. And like ISIS, not only are they setting up these drug businesses, they're setting up their own government, a form of taxation from the residents that are living in terror in these places.
these guys, like you said, and the police can't do anything because they're not equipped to handle these guys. So they got to have the military, I think, has to go in there to take care of them.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're too dangerous to have the local police.
Mm-hmm.
But something has to be done. But another thing to go on, especially when Harris says that he's accomplished more things in 4 years than President 8. He's stealing from Trump again. But what he's doing is destroying the country. They never mention all his accomplishments. They always just say, "Oh, he's done more." But what has he done? Wrecked the country.
Yep, that's right. All right, Doug, I appreciate the call. So this story just broke last night, and we don't have a lot of details yet. It is developing. But 32 armed Venezuelans have taken over an apartment building in Chicago. This was last night, just like they did in Aurora, Colorado. Now they've moved into this building in Chicago. Yes, the borders are. And these are some of the 911 calls that were made. And there's been really next to no reporting on this because they don't want us to know about it. So here's some of the 911 calls. There's some dead air spots between some of the calls, all right? Just so you know.
Unit 10-3, I'm citywide person with a gun, 6124 South King Drive. Caller says 32 Venezuelans are trespassing the building, showing guns in the courtyard, and they have motorcycles in the courtyard as well. All stairwells are filled. Nothing further, zone clear.
Wow. Scary stuff. There's more.
Hey, I'm sorry. You headed over to the shop center or to the 6124 on King for the migrants?
Migrants.
Okay, good. All right, 10-4. There's another available unit arrive at 310. We had multiple calls. First with the gun, 6124 South King. Also came over to disturbance large gathering. Could be 32 Venezuelans trespassing in the building property, showing guns in the courtyard. They have motorcycles in the courtway, all stairwells filled. And nothing further.
Wow. I mean, that's some frightening stuff there, guys. And I'll tell you, I know it's bad, isn't it? The cops aren't going in there. You know why the cops aren't going in there? They're scared. And they should be scared. I love how politically correct the 911 operator is. Migrants. Illegals and gangbangers, but they're migrants. All right, 1-888-465-2631. 2 American cities under siege. I mean, think about it. You know, the building in Chicago, I don't know how big the building is because that hasn't been reported, but I'm imagining it's one of those big project buildings in Chicago. And it's got to be big enough for them to have enough interest in taking it over. A building like that, you know how those buildings are in Chicago and New York? They have as many people living in one building as you have like in the whole city of Tamarack, right? Think about it. In your development where you live here in Florida, right? How much of your development would equal one of those buildings? Maybe your whole development. Could you imagine if the development you live in here in South Florida was taken over by Venezuelan gangs with guns on motorcycles? Even Ron DeSantis would do something about it. Could you imagine what would happen? It would be a national story. Why isn't it in Chicago? Well, for a couple reasons. One, it points out that our border czarina here, Kamala Harris, is a complete failure. And the media, they're not in the news business. They're in the business of suppressing news. The news organizations are in the business of covering up news. And also, chances are, if it's Chicago, they're poor and they're black. And the liberals don't care about that. Remember they used to call Chicago Chirac? Remember that? Chirac, because it was deadlier than Iraq during the war. And Spike Lee made a movie called Chirac. And the mayor and community leaders and ministers in Chicago had a meeting with Spike Lee asking him to change the name of the movie because it was going to shed the truth about what was going on in their city. They didn't want people to know. There's an apartment building filled with people that are being held hostage by Kamala's dreamers right now in Chicago, these Venezuelan gang members. And that's all the news I can find on it so far. Now, this is developing. It happened last night, but the media are in no hurry to report this story. They'll do it out of embarrassment when people like me continue to talk about it today. It's the number one trending thing on X this morning when I got up, by the way. That's how I found out about it. All right, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, Mr. Kane, listen, I'm from Boston, and I'll tell you, the migrants are throwing people out of vet homes. I have a brother-in-law that was in a military vet home, and they're pushing the vets out for the illegals. My wife flew back from Jacksonville. They're all over Logan Airport. You can't even get a proper hotel because they're everywhere. Listen, I moved down here from the pandemic, the most liberal state in our country, Massachusetts, and I came here to the free state of Florida. And I'll tell you, with Bidenomics and this comrade Kamala, I'll tell you, we are going down a dark hole. I make over $1,000 a week, and I live check to check. I'm stealing dog food to feed my dog.
Oh, my goodness.
This shouldn't be America, Mr. Kane.
Well, I hear your wife talking in the background. She's upset, too. Here's the thing. You've escaped. Liberals, all these things are happening because of Democrats. Democrats are doing this by design. And what's happened with the Democrats is they're done with the American people. They're done. The Democrat Party is about the South American people right now, not the people of the United States of America.
Mr. Charlie Baker, a Republican.
Yeah.
He was a rhino. Then we got Maura here. 15-year-old girl get raped by an illegal immigrant. And you know what she says a week later during the interview? Well, those things are going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, you hear what do you hear from the Democrats? The Democrats' response is, well, how many girls have been raped and killed by native-born Americans? Like that makes it okay. Right? These Democrats are sick. When you lived up there, were you a Democrat? Did you wake up, or were you kind of like in the closet as a conservative?
Well, listen, I was an old union carpenter, so I was an old Clinton Democrat, and I turned over to a Bush Republican because I saw it as when Obama got in. That's when I joined. Lost my job. MAGA hat up in Massachusetts, and you would think I'm wearing a Nazi.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Yeah, finish. I got to run for a break, so I'll give you the last word.
Mr. Kane.
All right. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Okay, welcome to the show. Now, this Labor Day weekend was a rainy weekend, man. I didn't get out of the house too much because it was raining so much. If you've got a wet spot on your ceiling, you've got a leak in your roof, if you're in the state of Florida, you want to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. Tom Laporta, he's a good MAGA guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. He works on every type of structure there is, both residential and commercial, and with every type of roofing material there is. If you've got a condo association or an HOA, homeowners association, he'll work directly with them, and he's very good with them, I'm here to tell you. And since he's not just a roofer, he's a contractor, under Florida law, he's allowed to deal directly with your insurance company for the cost of the replacement of your roof or the repair. Takes that middleman out. You may not have to hire a public adjuster. Some people have to hire attorneys to get their insurance companies to pay up. He's a good guy. He does incredible work. This number I'm going to give you rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And he does answer. So don't believe me, just call. You can also text him, but you should call if you can. 954-604-4602. For Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. We'll be right back. What time does Barry call in today?
The 13th break. The first break at 8.
Okay.
Or after.
Okay.
After the top of the hour, that's
Okay.
Instead of the commercials.
Yeah.
Like, making it more complicated at times. Did you get the email of Jupiter Joe and Jenny this week?
I haven't checked. No, when are they coming in?
So they're coming twice this week.
Okay.
Tomorrow, or maybe actually the 2 weeks. Hold on, let me double check. I think it's this week or next week.
Like those other contractors do. Typical deposits other contractors want are 1/3 of the contract. If your job is $30,000, that's a $10,000 deposit. If your job is
Tomorrow and then next week.
What time tomorrow?
At 8:30.
Okay.
So after we come out from the bottom of the hour.
Okay.
And then next week, Wednesday, at the same time, 8:30.
Okay.
With Florida, it's funny. We had our roof that needed to be
Yeah.
fixed. We had like big leaves, all that kind of stuff. We didn't know we didn't
Yeah.
show until after we had everything done. But like the roofer guys were trying to screw us.
Mhm.
So I remember hearing you talk about Laporta, so I told my parents to say,
Yeah.
hey, call this guy. I was like, I don't know, like since it's all done already,
Yeah.
but like what they're trying to do to us.
Yeah.
I called him. So I listened to one of the old shows,
Yeah.
got Laporta's number, had my mom call. He got back to us the next day. We called at night
Yeah.
because it was, we
Yeah.
didn't think about it. And he was like, oh, we didn't know what to do at that point, so he pushed us in the right direction. We got figured out after. He pushed
Yeah.
us in the right direction. He's like, hey, since it's all done,
Oh, that's good.
this is what you should do. And he didn't know until I recorded the commercial.
Oh, that you, yeah.
So I told him, I was like, he goes, I was like, my family actually called you, like,
Yeah.
last year, whatever. He goes, he got nervous at first. He's like, oh, I'm like, no. I was like, yeah, you helped. He's like, oh, okay. Like, I could tell he cared.
Yeah.
Because, like, he actually got nervous for a moment, like, whoa,
Mhm.
but, like, did everything get solved?
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good
That's how
guy.
I knew. I was like, he wasn't just...
That's funny.
Yeah. Awesome. Good.
Oh, I'll tell him. I'll use that in one of the commercials.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so, like you said, to negotiate with the insurance and stuff like that, that's what was trying to screw us.
Mhm.
Was trying to say, like, oh, you need to pay for this or that.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, do this. I'm like, okay. And we actually got it all settled.
All right, coming back.
New and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
Did you know the Volin Center offers free transportation? Catching a ride with the Volin Center coach has never been easier. The Volin Center has been providing rides for seniors age 60 and over since 1968. Available to all clients and the public. Pick you up or take you home. To shopping and appointments too. Servicing Boca, Delray, Boynton, and free rides to doctors. The Volin Center. Together, we make community happen. Learn more at volincenter.com.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world.
All right, we are back 19 minutes after the hour. If you're on hold, stand by. We covered quite a bit. Kamala Harris's campaign is going down the drain. But let's go back to the phones, and then I'll bring up some new stuff about her in just a bit. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Ben from Pompano. How you doing?
Hey, Ben, what's up?
Hey, so I got to figure out who these guys in Chicago voted for before I even feel bad for them. Because we all knew. I don't know, everyone remembers Lori Lightfoot and how god-awful she was. And when she lost in her re-election, she lost to someone who was even to the crazier and to the left of her, this Brandon guy. And so the Democrats I think that they can solve their problems by voting for another different Democrat. It never considers them. You can take...
Well, listen, I want you guys to understand what's going on here. Everything you've said is correct. But we have right now, according to the 911 calls that leaked out okay, through public, these public apps that carry 911 calls. This was not reported in the news. People heard the 911 calls. Venezuelan gangs, like the ones we saw in Colorado, have taken over an apartment building in Chicago, one of those high-rise project apartment buildings, and the people inside are being terrorized and held hostage. They have guns. Okay, and it's obviously a drug war that's going on. We have in two American cities, Aurora, Colorado, and Chicago, Illinois. We have two different teams of illegal Venezuelans, Kamala Harris's Dreamers, that are holding Americans hostage and under siege, and it's not even being reported, especially this new one. I mean, if this were my community or your community, the sky would be filled with news helicopters showing it, but they don't want to report this.
Yeah, it's funny that it happens now because yesterday Maduro's private jet was just seized in Fort Lauderdale. But so it's funny that happened. But I think, this is a media that just covered for Joe Biden's senility for 3.5 years until they couldn't anymore. This is a media that told us that first bullied Joe and called him a traitor if he doesn't leave, and then praised him as the greatest thing since the second coming of Jesus when he did leave. These are people who admitted that they had Joe Biden's administration had a Kamala Harris problem, and now they're treating her like she's the new Barack Obama. So, I mean, these people just lie. And one of the greatest lies they have is to lie through omission. It's the things they don't report. Honestly, this should be I know. But to me, when it comes down to it, you get our lamest, weakest Republican in there. Even you put Mike Pence as the mayor of Chicago, and even he wouldn't beef up law enforcement. But these people don't want to spend money on law enforcement. Take all that money that's going to migrant camps, do what Greg Abbott is doing or DeSantis is doing, ship all these people out, and beef up your police presence. You could actually...
Well, if you... listen, like I was saying, the cops are not equipped to handle this. These are foreign invaders. These guys are like ISIS fighters. The cops are not equipped to handle this.
National Guard. That's what El Salvador did. I mean, And you know what? If you send in the National Guard, that would make Biden look so bad. They would have to report that. In the National Guard to protect their own people. Well, then how did this come to be? Oh, look, Biden opened the border. So, I do it. If you had a serious government that didn't fall in line with the Democratic elites like the Nancy Pelosi's, Chuck Schumer's, you could actually do something about it. The solutions are there. It's only a matter of will.
Oh no, they had a border bill that didn't get passed. Really, you have to have a bill passed to stop this. All right, I appreciate the call. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey Brian, it's Sherry from Texas. How are you?
Hey Sherry, scary stuff here.
Oh boy. Well, of course, social media is not going to report this because, and the thing is Biden and Kamala, neither one of them are stepping up and calling in the National Guard. That this last caller you just had, he's right on.
He is.
He's right on cue with this. These are sanctuary cities. These are the cities that said defund the police, bring all the illegals in.
These apartment buildings, and this one in Chicago that there's a media blackout on, I mean, their families live there with kids, right?
Yeah, exactly. And nobody's going to stand up. No civilian is going to stand up with an arm and go against these guys, okay? And you're right. They're just like an ISIS group. And you know that the administration is aware of this going on in these two cities, and it's probably going on in different cities. It's just not noted yet. That the public just doesn't know about it.
Yeah, what's going on here? These are drug wars. They're pushing out the American gangbangers with these new, Venezuelan gangs, which means you got a Wild West shootout, deadly thing going on here with civilians in the crossfire, including children.
That's exactly right. And so, but these are the cities. This is the reason why the administration is not coming to surface and saying something about this is because they've created this problem. I mean, in the 58 years, I'll say 50 years because that would have put me at 8 years old. I have never ever seen our country in such a crisis as it is right now. This is terrifying. I mean, I would have never dreamed in a million years that our country would be where it's at.
Well, the problem is our country is under attack by its own government. Whether it's the lawfare against Trump or these poor people in Aurora, Colorado, and Chicago. right? I mean, there's another story today that I saw. Listen to this. This is crazy. An illegal from Honduras with gang ties has just been arrested for a random stabbing of a 14-year-old girl in Indiana. The 14-year-old girl was watching her brother's baseball game with her mom when she was stabbed by this illegal Kamala dreamer from Honduras. He had been deported to Honduras in 2018, but he made it back here under Biden and Kamala. And he just stabbed randomly a 14-year-old little girl with her mom at a baseball game. In Indiana, Midwest, what the hell?
I'm sure.
I don't know if he's out on the streets this time, but he's been committing, he was deported. He's been committing crimes across the country, they've said. They may have him in custody now, but, I mean, these are all things that are happening as a direct result of Kamala Harris. And she doesn't care.
Thing before I forget is you've got these Democrats out there that know about this, that will still go to those voting booths and...
Well, you know, it's a habit with a lot of people. I don't care if these are Democrats that are being terrorized in Chicago or Colorado. They're still Americans. I mean, we got to do something. Hey, good call. Made great points. Thanks so much. We're coming up on our bottom of the hour break. Callers on hold, stand by. We are back live. It is Tuesday after Labor Day. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be back right after this. So I think the caller's much better now. I think you can hear the callers perfectly now. Same will go for Steve. You'll hear Steve better too.
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Wasn't there that one person at the border that was recording and trying to interview people that were coming across, and one guy's like, "Oh, you'll remember me," blah blah blah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
I feel like it's far from over.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's gonna continue happening. Well, my worry is just New York, because I got all the family up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've been telling them to move down to Florida. I think that would be a perfect reason
to
finally come down to move to
I know.
Like a lot better.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my goodness. If you're on hold, hang in there.
Are you feeling safe and secure in your home? Unfortunately, millions of Americans are vulnerable to break-ins every year. But what if you can have peace of mind knowing that your home is protected 24/7? At Sloman's, we understand the importance of home security. That's why we're offering a free home security system with free professional installation. When you use our low-cost central station monitoring, our top-of-the-line systems are designed to detect intruders and alert authorities and give you real-time updates right to your smartphone. And with our state-of-the-art monitoring center, you'll have 24/7 protection from any threat. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your home and family and your valuables with Sloman's comprehensive home security solutions. Call 1-833-283-5050 today to schedule your free installation and start sleeping better tonight. Sloman's, protecting what matters most. Call 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050 now. At Sloman's, we understand the importance of home security.
954-753-8080. That's 954-753-8080. There are 5-star rated plans that you can enroll in the middle of the year. That's right. You don't have to wait for open enrollment. Debbie and her family have been taking care of Steve Kane Show listeners since 1993. Debbie even handles Steve Kane's Medicare. So if you're not happy with your current Medicare plan, give Debbie a call right now and go over the options. 954-753-8080. Debbie can help you no matter where you're located in the state of Florida. 954-753-8080. And online, iwilladvisors.com.
Ready to be in business for yourself and take control of your future? Find the franchise business that's right for you at Franchise Expo South in partnership with the IFA, September 6th through 7th at the Fort Lauderdale Convention Center. Meet with hundreds of the hottest franchise concepts, some with investment levels as low as $10,000. Attend free seminars and talk with financial experts. Franchise Expo South in Fort Lauderdale, September 6th through 7th. Register now at franchiseexposouth.com. That's franchiseexposouth.com.
Brian Craig here. Our 6th annual cruise is coming up, and you're all invited. This time, we're sailing for 7 nights on Celebrity Cruise Line's newest ship, the Ascent to Puerto Plata, St. Thomas, and St. Martin. We set sail March 30th. We have private shore excursions, private cocktail parties, group activities. We're going to go to the shows together and much, much more. Call me in at Cruise and Travel Depot right now. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. And online at cruisingdepot.com to make your reservation and lock in our private group rate. Nothing comes close to Celebrity Cruises.
This is Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com. Back. Dog days of summer are upon us. Your AC is struggling, running constant, trying to hold the temperature, maybe even failing late afternoon. Your electric bill is gone up, even double. Radiant Barrier is the cure. Stop the heat gain, lowering the temperatures in the attic up to 40 degrees, cutting the FPL bills up to 40%. Dog days of summer sales, 50% on Radiant Barrier and insulation, insulation removal, rat proofing, and we even do AC dust in the heat of the summer. Act now and get $500 off Radiant Barrier over 2,000 square feet and $1,000 over 4,000 square feet, plus a 30% federal tax credit. So call now 954-939-1500 to save big. Call 954-939-1500 and talk to the owner Scott. That's 954-939-1500 or cutmykilowatts.com. Estimates given on the phone, work done in days, not weeks. Easier than ordering a pizza.
Back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the air.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. It is the Tuesday after Labor Day. We are back live today. And if you're just tuning in, a group of Kamala Harris's dreamers, a Venezuelan gang, have taken over an apartment building in Chicago. 22 armed Venezuelan gang members rode in on motorcycles carrying guns and have taken over a building. Complete media blackout on this. It was the #1 trending news story when I woke up this morning on Twitter, X. I played some of the 911 calls earlier involving this. Total media blackout. If anybody has any updates online, just like last week, those Kamala Dreamers illegals that tried to kidnap the kids off the school buses in Southern California, remember? America's under attack by Kamala Harris's Dreamers. Okay, let's go to the phones. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Jay from Jersey.
Oh, hey, Jay. What's up?
Well, I'm not going to go into that, what you're just talking about. I'm going into what you were talking about earlier. See, if for some reason you always talk about how the Democrats were the ones who were killing the slaves and the Republicans were trying to save them. See, you don't understand. Since you're a white man, you don't understand. We don't care if you were a Democrat or a Republican. We just care the fact that you were white men hanging us, lynching us.
Listen, slow down. I know you don't want to hear this. This is what he's talking about. This is Jay from Jersey. Every black man lynched in America was a Republican, and every white man that lynched a black man was a Democrat. And that's the reality of it. And I know you don't like to talk about that. You don't want to talk about it. You want to divert. But, here you are trying to cover up for the lynchers of ancestors of yours, which is really twisted, really sick.
That just like I said, it don't matter. It's just the fact that they're white people. Now, what I want to hit on is the six or seven people who were killed over...
Murdered, lynched. Six Jews murdered in Gaza.
Third one. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you, and I know a lot of people in your audience are going to have a problem with me saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Oh, we'll see about that.
Hey, let's listen. Just listen, because
we'll see.
Because I only live.
We'll see. It better be good for the air. Or it won't make it. Well, but you got to have some decency.
I really don't care about the sick people.
One of them was an American citizen.
Guess what? He was Jewish.
Okay, there you go. I gotta tell you something. This he doesn't care. He was Jewish, he said. Anytime this happens, I bring this up to you guys. For 75 years, there have been endless discussions of how the Holocaust happened. Discussions, books, movies, documentaries, college lectures, and you see it every day. You don't need to have a college lecture or see a documentary or watch Schindler's List again. You just have to listen to the modern-day Democrat Party. Did you hear that? You heard it. That's your average, everyday Democrat. Just like these punks that are getting ready to start up at Columbia. That's how the Holocaust happened. All right, let's go. Back to the phones. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, man. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, well, it looks like you're having a good conversation.
Yeah, always.
Always. What's up?
Yeah, Ben and the caller before Jay was great, but Jay, I don't know where he's coming from with all that.
Yes.
But what I can say is that the way that we're seeing this unfold and the reactions from the Democrats that they're not even going to speak on it. It just goes to the format that they don't want to support anything that Trump said. Trump told you these were dangerous people. He told you defunding the police was a bad idea. And, I wish he would have pulled out the National Guard when he had the opportunity to show the world that it can be done, But, the way that this is unfolding now, it's terrible for the people that are going to be a part of the victimization of it, And we're all just going to be hid from the mainstream media.
I want you to look at what's happened over the weekend. All right, just on the stories, and I haven't even gotten to the disasters inside Kamala's campaign itself. We have hostages being held by the border czar, Kamala Harris's dreamers in Chicago, that have taken over this apartment building that I've been talking about. 22 armed Venezuelan gang members. We have an American citizen shot dead in the head in Gaza by the terrorist. You saw those American soldiers in Turkey that got roughed up and they put the bags over their head over the weekend. I mean, what's going on here? And Kamala's running around pretending to be talking to somebody on the phone when she walks by reporters.
Did you catch the stabbing in, I want to say it was like San Diego or one spot in California? And there was a football player, a rookie from the San Francisco 49ers, out shopping, and he got stabbed in broad daylight in the chest.
Wow.
17-year-old by a 17-year-old that they're protecting. They won't even give his name because he's a 17-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The way that things used to work, you used to be charged as an adult when I was younger, but I guess that doesn't apply now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. I mean, they charge 12-year-olds as adults when they do certain things.
I mean, the migrants are just going to keep flooding us, and nobody's going to talk about it in the media. And anything that they do is going to be shadowed by most of the local media,
Well, I'm going to cover it. I'm not going to let them cover it up. We're going to expose it all. All right. By the way, I must say, great calls today. We've had some very thoughtful calls. We've had some, dregs too, but... You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Brian. Can you hear me?
I can.
Hi, how are you? It's Laura. Listen, first of all, the things that, like Jay says, okay, they were killed because they were Jewish. I know there is a free speech in United States.
No, excuse me. That's not what he said. Of course they were killed because they were Jews. He said he doesn't care and they deserved it because they are Jews.
Okay, okay. I don't know if it counts on a free speech in the United States, but in Europe, you say that. In Europe, if you say that, it's forbidden. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, it's forbidden. Whatever we think of Europe, some stuff you don't burn flags and you don't say things like that. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I have and by the way, this Kamala, I'm going to call her that because they say everything that they want, and I cannot say everything that I want. It's free speech. Kamala, she is someone that she promises that, okay, you're going to get reparation, but it's all lies. When she goes to Michigan and to get the Muslim vote, it's all lies. It's lies. These communities, they should know that she lies to them.
Oh, yeah. She was at what Helen's talking about here is a video from 2020 came out. Kamala Harris was speaking at Al Sharpton's group, and Al Sharpton said, when you become president, will you sign the reparations bill? And she said, yes.
Are you joking me? Do you think that she's going to pay? It's all lies. Okay, she lies.
Yes. Well, yes.
She can. And listen, I have just a question, and this is very important. Let's say, because there is a lot, like 5 or 6 swing states. Let's say she's gonna go get Michigan. Is it possible that even she gets Michigan, President Trump he?
Yeah, he doesn't. We want Michigan. We want every state, but yeah, there's 7 toss-up battleground states. Michigan is one of them.
He has to have Michigan.
No.
Oh, okay. Get the Michigan vote. Oh, no, that's why my.
It would be we want to have it because we want to have a buffer. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. We don't want to cut it too close. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff.
Did you hear the reporter ask that Tim about Israel, what happened in Israel and the Americans dying and hostages? He wouldn't even answer the question, acted like he didn't hear it.
Yeah, and they were talking right to him. He walked away at the fair, yeah.
There's no way he didn't hear that.
Of course he heard it.
And, Kamala Harris and Walz will not defend Israel. And I think that's a big issue that would...
How do you, of course, not defend Israel, they won't even defend America. Right? Look at what we're under attack. Americans are being held hostage in Aurora, Colorado, and Chicago, Illinois, by Venezuelan gangs right now as I'm speaking to you. How can we expect them to defend Israel when they won't defend Chicago or Colorado?
They're not. It's getting to the point now where if anybody is not waking up. Those people are never going to change their mind, but there's a lot of people, and Democrats and independents and certain minorities, I believe, are getting turned off more and more every time they talk, Brian. Every time they open their mouth, they're losing vote.
Yeah, that's why, these callers, Jay from Jersey and Renee from Harlem, I think I think they contribute so much to the MAGA movement that people get to hear what is in the heart and the minds of Democrats.
And, we've always, Brian and Steve and I I understand what I meant to say, and I may not have said it last. We need to act.
Yeah.
Everybody to vote.
We need to have 100 million. We need to have a 100 million voter turnout for Trump. It's got to be the biggest. Look, I'm up against the break, Jeff, but I appreciate the call. Good points. Thanks so much. We'll be right back.
much better. Got millions and millions more votes. And
why does the establishment keep?
And
why does the
and
He released me from my knee pain. I can walk. And this week I went to see him. I had excruciating pain on my hand, and I had a treatment. And I just want to say out there to everyone, it works. It really works. I am pain-free from my hand. He's amazing. Friendly staff. He's wonderful. And I highly recommend him. And I thank you so much for the recommendation. I'm very grateful.
Call Dr. Appleton right now and say bye-bye to your pain, too. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Online, AppletonCairo.com. Hey, everyone, Brian Craig here. You asked Mike Lindell, and he listened. Mike's offering the queen-size MyPillow for just $19.98 with our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at MyPillow.com. Plus, you could get the 6-piece MyPillow towel set for just $25. The bed sheets, they're $25 too. The new MyPillow mattress topper as low as $69.98. Go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code KANE for these huge discounts. You can also order by phone. 1-800-716-4879.
Okay, so which mic is that? Yeah. It should be, whatever the middle one is, should be that one. You want me to see? Okay, let me see. You got it? Which one do you want me to tap? This one? This one's not. I'd rather do this one because this one keeps falling. Well,
tap that one, the middle one. Talking to it.
Test, 1, 2.
Yep, that'll work.
Okay, we'll use this one. Okay. Can you put the pot up so I know which one? Just I'll keep it off. Yeah. Which one is that? This one here? Okay. Oh, shoot. I got to call. Yeah, I'm going to play the music for a second.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
Hey, hold on. All right, we are back 48 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. The countdown has begun to our 6th annual Steve Kane, Brian Craig MAGA Cruise. And on the line from Cruise and Travel Depot, we have Ian. Hey, Ian.
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Hey, now last week when we talked, I want to update people that might have missed this last week. Steve is coming with his wife, Lori, but they decided that they were going to bring one of their sons, and you were able to get Steve's son added to the reservation. I mean, it was really, I don't know how you got it at such a low price, but you got him in there at a really low price. So if you out there want to bring another family member with you, a grandson, a grandchild, or a significant other, give Ian a call. But we're leaving on March 30th, and we're going to be gone for a week this time on the newest celebrity ship. Where are we going again?
Going to Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic, St. Martin, and St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Yeah, and we have private excursions just for our MAGA group at each and every one of these stops. And, you know, our entire cruise is privatized. Our dinner is private. Our onboard activities are private. Our shore excursions are private. And so much is included. Tell people what's included with the cruise fare, Ian.
I mean, there's such a ton of value built in. I mean, the private dining is incredible. It's 5-star experience. You have the drink package, and we're not talking about bottom shelf. We're talking about top shelf. And the internet provided by Elon Musk's Starlink.
Yes.
Superior. Not to mention our onboard camaraderie, our private events where free to discuss anything and everything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of the people, you know, we have people that come from all over America, and some of them come from very blue places. Some of our MAGA people, San Francisco, you know, New England, and they're not accustomed or not used to being able to talk about their love of Trump out in the open, and of course they do, and we have a great time. And this is our 6th cruise. It's hard to believe we've done so many, and it's a great time. We have an incredible cruise family that gets bigger and bigger after every other cruise. The drinks and the Wi-Fi being included is huge. You know, and that Starlink from... You okay? Okay. It sounded like a warning bell. You're not in a crash or anything. I know you're in the car. That Starlink internet, which is included, by the way, from Elon Musk, of course I use it. It is incredibly fast. I wouldn't mind having it at my house. That's included. The drinks are included. And a thing about this is I did not know this till Ian told me. On some cruise lines, they limit how many drinks you can have a day, right? Like, how many do they limit you to on some of these cruise lines, Ian?
Some of them you're limited to 12.
12?
Some people might, 12. And some people might say, oh, that's, I'm not going to drink 12 in a day. But if you take into account coffees, teas, sodas, stuff like that,
yeah,
is 12 really... It's not that much.
And since the drinks are included and it's top shelf, what I like to do, I'll order things I've never heard of before, and I'll take a sip. If I don't like it, who cares? It's included, and order another one. You can go through 12 real quick like that. So, listen, we're going to have a great time. We always do. You're all invited except Liberal Al. You're not invited, Liberal Al. Either is Renee from Harlem, Jay from Jersey, and a few others who will be unmentioned. And the reason we can say certain people aren't invited is because this is our private group, and we can exclude anyone we want in our private group. Give Ian a call at Cruise and Travel Depot, 561-244-5779, 561-244-5779. That's 561-244-5779. All right, Ian, we'll talk soon. All right, take care. Okay, now, I came across something over the weekend that is scary as it gets. And I want to share it with you right now. But before I do, I want to play you a clip of President Trump to illustrate the significance of what I'm going to share with you. Okay? President Trump did an interview a week or so ago, and it was a very good interview. He was interviewed by a guy named Theo Von, and he talked to President Trump about a lot of things, some of which were a little weird. But he asked President Trump, why is the establishment against you so much? Listen to this, and then it'll fit into this thing I want to share with you, which is really frightening. Listen, this is President Trump being interviewed by Theo Von recently.
Why does the establishment keep trying to sink you? Like, what is it that they are so afraid of?
Well, in some cases, the things we're talking about right now, they want to sell product that I'm not interested in. They want to have certain boats and certain ships and certain planes and certain everything bought. Pharma is another one that's, interesting.
Okay. So what President Trump is talking about there, he's talking about the military-industrial complex. The military-industrial complex donors that he doesn't buy the planes and the ships that they want him to buy. And he ends wars, doesn't start new ones. Right? And we hear a lot about the military-industrial complex. Now, recently, Robert Kennedy Jr. has joined the Trump team, right? Yesterday, I came across this chilling video that Robert Kennedy Jr. released. And it scared the living daylights out of me, and I'm going to play it for you now. This is Bobby Kennedy Jr. He posted this on his Instagram, is where I found it. And keep in mind what President Trump just said. Why are they against you? Right? Listen, this is Bobby Kennedy.
This is a war that should have never happened. It's a war the Russians tried repeatedly.
Oh, now let me write. He's talking about the Ukraine war.
This is a war that should have never happened. It's a war the Russians tried repeatedly to settle on terms that were very, very beneficial to Ukraine and us. The major thing they wanted was for us to keep NATO out of the Ukraine. The big military contractors want to add new countries to NATO all the time. Why? Because then that country has to conform its military purchases to NATO weapon specifications, which means certain companies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, General Dynamics, Boeing, and Lockheed, get a trapped market. In March of 2022, we committed $113 billion. Just to give you an example, we could have built a home for almost every homeless person in this country. We then committed another $24 billion since that 2 months ago, and now President Biden is asking for another $60 billion. But the big expenses are going to come after the war, when we have to rebuild all the things that we destroyed. Mitch McConnell was asked, can we really afford to spend $113 billion to Ukraine? He said, don't worry. It's not really going to Ukraine.
It's going to American defense manufacturers.
So he just admitted it's a money laundering scheme. And who do you think owns every one of those companies? BlackRock. So Tim Scott, during the Republican debate, said, don't worry, it's not a gift to Ukraine, it's a loan. So raise your hand if you think that loan's never getting paid back. Yeah, of course it's not. So why do they call it a loan? Because if they call it a loan, they can impose loan conditions. And what are the loan conditions that we impose on? Number one, an extreme austerity program, so that if you're poor in Ukraine, you're going to be poor forever. Number two, most important, Ukraine has to put all of its government-owned assets up for sale to multinational corporations, including all of its agricultural land, the biggest single asset in Europe. In Ukraine, there's been 1,000 years of war fought over that land. It's the richest farmland in the world. It's the breadbasket of Europe. 500,000 kids almost, Ukrainian kids, have died to keep that land as part of Ukraine. They almost certainly didn't know about this loan condition. They've already sold 30% of it. The buyers were DuPont, Cargill, and Monsanto. Who do you think owns all of those companies? Yeah, BlackRock. And then in December, President Biden gave out the contract to rebuild Ukraine. And who do you think got that contract? BlackRock. So they're doing this right in front of us. They don't even care that we know anymore, because they know that they can get away with it. And how do they know that? Because they have a strategy. And that strategy is an old strategy, which is they keep us at war with each other. They keep us hating on each other. They keep the Republicans and Democrats fighting each other, black against white, and all these divisions that they sow.
Okay. Now, yeah, pretty scary, right? Especially after you hear what President Trump said. And then I'll just add something to that, just to get you to think as we're approaching our top of the hour break. You know, this Democrat donor that shot President Trump and 3 others, killing one of them in Pennsylvania, remember? He was in that BlackRock video that was made at his school with the teacher. Remember that? Yeah, kind of been suppressed, that thing. He just happened to be in it. I don't know. But I know there's a lot of dots connecting, and it's pretty scary stuff. And a lot of that is why Bobby Kennedy is now on the Trump train. We don't agree with him on a lot of things, of course, but he's helping us with the big picture. Oh, my goodness. Well, 2 hours down, 1 hour to go, and I haven't even really gotten to my show prep yet. I saw some frightening things this morning in the news before I left my house, and that's what I've been talking about. But I'm going to do some recapping of those issues, and we'll get into some more as the rest of the show goes on. Your calls are also welcome at 1-888-465-2631. 1-888-465-2631. It is a toll-free call no matter where you are listening to us. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. 2 hours down, 1 to go. Back after this.
That's 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WIRK, 101.1 HD3 Indiantown, and Hurry Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. Paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Your home for the Steve Kane Show.
Barry's
He's
here?
He just went to go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. I was going to have him come in at 8:15 when he's supposed to do the thing, but you can ask if he wants to do the recording before or after that, because, okay. Steve, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I can.
Okay. You guys will be able to hear Steve better too. I figured out a new way to hook things up.
Call 1-833-283-5050 today to schedule your free installation and start sleeping better tonight. Slowness, protecting what matters most.
Oh my.
Call 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. At Slowness, we understand the importance of home security.
Hey, Barry. So I was going to bring you in at the quarter after. I've been a long time no see.
I know, I haven't seen you in a long time.
I know, it's your first time here?
At this location, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Mike's going to record the commercial in here with you. You can do it now or after you're on. And then I was going to bring you in coming out of the next break.
Okay. And just do a regular spiel on there. Just,
Yeah, I was thinking, though, I was going to call you. Are we coming back now? Can you play one more spot?
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering if you could do a generic recording for your workshops that I can use where I can just add the dates. You understand what I mean? Every time you do one? So that, on top of whatever else you're going to do. Okay, all right.
So I could just run a few different ideas I have, record them, and then you guys could figure out how to
Yep. All right.
Their techs are highly skilled and professional, and their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest on lab work you'll find anywhere. Appointments aren't necessary. Doctor's orders and prescriptions, they're not needed either. I'm in and out in 15 minutes or less. I get the results the next day in my email box, and they also send it to my doctor. There's lots of any lab test nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandalwood Plaza. That's where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough Boulevard on the east side of State Road 7, 441. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood by the Coral Square Mall. Call Any lab test now of Boca at 561-237-5009. Any lab test now of Coral Springs number is 954-906-5983. And don't forget to mention that you heard about them on the radio.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with...
All right. Hour number 3 has begun. Callers on hold, stand by. I'm Brian. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Steve on the line. Hey, Steve. Oh, well, it depends on who you are, right? It's good for us. I'll put it that way.
We're capsuling.
We're starting the week off well. Let's take some calls in as we're talking. Everything will come out. But if you're just tuning in, a lot has happened. I haven't not even gotten to my show prep today, but a group of 22 armed Kamala Harris dreamers, Venezuelan gang members, last night took over an apartment building in Chicago. They arrived with guns on motorcycles and are holding everybody hostage inside the building. It's being reported. Isn't that nice? Yeah. And I'm not talking about the incident in Colorado. This is in Chicago. Yeah, I know. It's and there's. Yeah, it is. All right, well, let's go to the phones, though. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. We have heard from some Democrats today, each and every one of them deranged. But you would think that the polls are wrong. These polls that they're telling us Kamala's winning, and these Democrats today didn't seem like winners. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Danielle, and I'm a foreigner from Canada, Quebec, and I moved to the States.
Oh, really? Quebec? Did you know Kamala when she lived up there in Montreal?
No, I'm a little bit older, Brian, older than you. But what I want to say is that I used to tell people, "Have you ever heard about the Canadian dream?" And they would say, "No, what is that? It doesn't exist." I'm living in the United States. I'm a proud American. I'm living the American dream because I work. I work hard. And I came here. I learned my English. It's still not perfect. But I learned it. And you know what? This country, we're not loser, we're winner. And this is why people come here. Because only here, this country, you can make it. But it's not free.
Now, let me ask you. Now, you're an immigrant from Canada. You work here. Did you have to go through some process, or did you just walk across the border and get free housing, free health care, and EBT? Did they give you all that free stuff when you got here?
No, Lisa, my first job was a nurse.
Yeah.
And they told me, you're going to work night shift. And I said, well, I don't really speak English. I speak French. And don't worry about it. You're going to work night shift. I came here. I learned to speak English in 1 month.
Oh.
I have to say, Brian, my life is what I made of it. But the United States, I mean, I have an American flag. I work in a hospital. I still work. And I have my little, identification. American flag. And I'm American. Okay, you have a great day.
It sounds like the overseers were coming. She's at work, so I guess the boss is coming in, so she got to go. But that's good, yeah. All right, let's go. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. All right, they lost. Oh, he said good morning just as I was hanging up. I let him call back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, Mike from Coconut Creek.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, I first want to apologize because the other day I said a vulgar word on the...
Oh, yes, I remember. Yes, that's okay.
I'm very sorry I did that.
That's okay.
So, see what happens? How this incident now in Chicago? Don't these sanctuary states realize that opening the door to all these cities to have this done? It's like they give them a free invitation. Come here, you can live for free. Come here, we'll give you money. Come here, we'll give you a phone.
Yeah.
Whose fault is this? I mean,
the Democrats.
Every state.
Yeah.
So it is. And people are they that ignorant they don't understand this?
Yeah, no, people know. This is not it. We're not, I mean, these are not secrets. Yeah, I know. A lot of people that are Democrats, they just it's a bad habit that they can't break. Like Hunter with crack and hookers.
I live next door to a Democrat, and this question, and all she could say, I hate Trump. I said, so give me a reason why. And all they could say, well, he's obnoxious on the radio, or he's not. But what do you hate about him as a president? He did what he said. Okay, he's got the New York attitude. Okay, you can't do nothing about it. I mean, he's trying to...
First of all, you got a neighbor in Coconut Creek. I mean, half the people in Coconut Creek are from New York, right? I mean, how can she function in Coconut Creek with Winmore Village over there? Which All right, I appreciate the call. So what's happened here, and this was the #1 trending news story on Twitter this morning, a group of 32, I was wrong, I said 22 earlier, a group of 32 armed Venezuelans have taken over an apartment building in Chicago. This happened just last night. This is not Aurora, Colorado. This is another American city under siege. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Mike from West Palm Beach.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Michael. Hey, how are you guys doing? I hear you talking about Chicago. Are you guys aware of what's going on in New York?
Well, tell us. I read this morning that 75% of the arrests in Lower Manhattan, it's in the New York Post, are illegals.
Yes, not only that, it's like World War II over there. The migrants have taken over, and all the stores are being closed because they're robbing the stores and riding on mopeds, stealing purses off of people and selling to the Chinese, and they're reselling the merchants that they're stealing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, there's a crime wave, and if that's not bad enough, the jihadis are about to stage a protest at Columbia University since classes are resumed.
And if you'd like to see anything else about it, there's a guy named Cash Jordan that puts it on YouTube.
Yeah.
They will not put on the that we can see.
Well, listen, America's under attack, and that's why Kamala Harris is pretending to talk on the telephone when she gets out of her car over the weekend. She's afraid of all these questions. I mean, we had an American citizen murdered in Israel over the weekend. They want to say 6 Israelis. They were 6 Jews, and one of them was an American citizen.
And I heard that fool that called in earlier. That he didn't,
Which one?
He said that he didn't care about if they were Jewish or.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, but that's why vetting is very important. And under Kamala's lead, Venezuelan, all the other people coming over here just killing America.
Yep.
For no reason.
Well, what's going on? What's happening in these apartment buildings? These are gang drug wars. These Venezuelan gangs, they're moving into these project apartment buildings to take over the drug business from the gangbangers that are already there. It's a gang drug war.
Yeah, I saw that on television the other day. And
now, this one in Chicago, I haven't. If anybody has any updates on the Chicago one, I'd appreciate. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, hi, Brian. My name is Vernon from Palm Beach Gardens.
Hey, what's up?
Good. Listen, 2 things. I've called before. I'm from Venezuela. And first thing isn't it like a coincidence that this is happening and the United States just seized Maduro's airplane?
It's not a coincidence. It's It's just happening. I mean, I know that happened in Fort Lauderdale, but this was happening before that.
Yeah, and another thing, I mean, I know for a fact because I hear all the stories, all these people coming through the borders, all of them come completely broke. How do these guys get here, get money to have weapons?
I don't know. Let me ask you, because you're Venezuelan. I mean, Venezuelans, they're not really presenting themselves very well in the country today. I mean, what's going on with these gangs? What are your thoughts on it? These Venezuelan gangs that are taking over these apartment buildings in Chicago and Aurora, Colorado.
Well, like you said, you said it well. It's a war against the United States. I've called 6 months ago and I told you what was happening. Maduro's sending all these criminals over the border. He's financing all this, and that's how they cross over.
Mm-hmm.
And they put them on planes, send them all the way to Mexico because they have like a special treaty with Mexico, and they just cross the border.
Yeah, but Venezuela may look good to you these days. There's hardly any crime now. Crime's down 73% in Venezuela.
It's because now they're all rich. Everybody who's in
the criminals are here. That's they're.
And so now the criminals are they're a pain in the butt for them. So they send them over to the United States. That's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a playbook.
Yeah.
It's a playbook.
Well, listen, I appreciate the call. All right, we're up against a break. Take care. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Did you do the recording already?
A little bit.
You gonna do it after?
Yeah, I'll do some after.
No hurry. There's no rush. Oh, caught me off guard, Mike. All right, we are back, and I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show, and in studio for the first time, we have attorney Barry Siegel in studio. First time you've been here.
First time I've been to this studio. I've been to some of your studios in the past.
Slight upgrade.
Yeah, very nice. This is nice. It is freezing cold in here.
I just turned the air conditioning down really low.
And Brian is here in short sleeves. I'm here in a suit, and I'm still freezing.
I know. I turned it down. Well, I'm surrounded by all this equipment, so it's like a space heater. Well, it's good to have you here, and you've been with us how many years now?
I don't know. It's been a long time. I'd say probably close to 10.
Easily. And I remember when we first met you, there was a guy that was in the life insurance business, Robert Reich, not that guy that worked for Bill Clinton, another Robert Reich, introduced us to you, and Steve had a revocable living trust done. You reviewed it, and you say people should have their trust reviewed every 3 years. And his trust had so many problems, I don't know that you were able to correct, that you picked up on. We had lunch at Wings Plus. That when someone's revocable living trust is not updated and current, does that force them to go through probate? What happens in these situations? It sounds like a really messed up possibility of things.
Well, not necessarily that it would force them to go through probate. For example, let's say if Steve had an older trust that was out of date, even if all his assets were in there, and but he had, if I recall, he had a trustee that was no longer living. I know he had some wishes that had changed. So if everything was in the trust, it still would have avoided probate, but it may have gone to the wrong people. There may have been an issue as far as who would serve as trustee if he didn't have a named trustee or a backup to the person who passed away. So those are the kind of problems that
in some of these situations, if people don't update the revocable living trust, something new that comes in that's not included, what happens with that?
Well, I mean, when you say something new...
Well, like say they bought a new condo.
Okay, sure. It's very important to make sure that there's an updating system. And what we found with many people who come to us, they've gone to the attorney one time, and then they never heard from the attorney again in years and years and years. We have an updating system with our clients where we schedule a review every 3 years. They can see us sooner if they need to, but the point of that is to make sure that their wishes stay up to date, to make sure that any assets, like you mentioned, the condo, anything that they may have purchased, whether it be real estate or financial accounts, those end up going into the trust, and at those review meetings, those updating meetings, we can remind them, hey, have you acquired any new assets in the last several years since we last saw you? If the answer is yes, did you put it in the trust? Usually the answer is no, and we can make sure that they do that.
Yeah.
So updating is so important for all of those reasons and more.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I've told you this story many times. This is a very common story. My mother's neighbor, couple, they were married for ever and ever. Husband died. Within 3 months, the wife got remarried. They were married like over 30 years. A couple months later, she died. She didn't update anything. This guy she was married to for 2 or 3 months, he and his family got everything. The house, they wouldn't even let her family have the family photographs.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned on the show the other day, I had a lady come into the last seminar that we did, and she was talking about the fact that she was living with her boyfriend for 17 years. He didn't have anything executed. He actually had drawn up a trust that was going to leave the property to her, but he never signed the trust, and since he never signed it, he never funded the property into the trust. The family ended up kicking her out after he passed away.
Oh, my goodness. She's homeless. And you got kids, I guess, you can move in with. I mean, that's awful. Yeah. And, you know, when people die and there's money involved, people go for it if things aren't set up properly. Now, one thing I want to talk about quickly here, though, that you do, which is amazing, is the Medicaid planning. And, you know, when people hear Medicaid, they think, well, that's for homeless people. That's you know, for very poor. And it can be, but it's also for people that have a little bit of means.
Well, yeah, and you're right. It is designed for people who are impoverished, people who have low income and low assets. However, the way it's set up, the rules are set up so that there are ways that elder law attorneys such as ourselves are able to help people who have income over the limits and assets over the limits still qualify. And the biggest problem, as you mentioned, is that people immediately, the second they hear Medicaid, their brain turns off and they start thinking about something else. If they hear a commercial on your show with me, or if they're in a workshop, I warn people at the workshop by tuning out when I talk about this could be the biggest financial mistake you make in your lifetime, because the cost of long-term care, that is very unforgiving. It's so expensive, and if you don't have the long-term care insurance, and even if you have it, it could run out. So what is your plan B? If plan B is spending out of your own pocket and potentially going broke or leaving your spouse broke, that may not be a great plan. When you could have qualified for Medicaid, but for the fact that you thought, oh, well, this doesn't apply to me, I'm not going to even pay attention or listen. And I'll tell you one of the other issues that we have with it, too. We get people who come in, they're spending $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 a month, and they still hesitate about going forward. You know why? They think it's too good to be true. And, you know, I could understand that, but it is true, and it does work, and we've helped people save so much over the years with, you know, for their families. So, you know, it's something, it's
absolutely.
You need to do.
Yeah, and the Medicaid planning covers both at-home care and nursing home care, and it's always a no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group. I have met and talked with many of our listeners over the years, in particular on our cruises, because one person will mention, oh, I'm a client. Then all of a sudden everybody at the table is a client of yours, Barry, and they all start telling their stories. But every listener that I've ever talked to, no matter what they've had done with you, whether it's the trust, the Medicaid planning, or both, they all have a similar reaction, a sense of relief. I tell you about this a lot. Like a weight is off their shoulders.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when we go through the process and clients reach the end stage of the process when they're signing and getting their documents executed, you could see a physical change in their demeanor. You could see their shoulders go down. You could see their facial expression change, where you could see the sense of relief. They even verbalize it very often. Oh my God, what a relief. This was so easy. This was so simple. I'm so happy that this is done. I can relax now. I mean, those are the things that are rewarding about what we do.
And remember, if you have a will or a revocable living trust and it was prepared by another attorney, another law firm, the Siegel Law Group will review that as well. No matter where you are in the state of Florida, the Siegel Law Group can help you. But you have offices from Miami north to Palm Beach Gardens, everywhere in between. Your main office is in Boca, but you have a new office in Naples, right?
Yep, it's for about a year now, and it's right in downtown Naples, right on Fifth Avenue.
Which is beautiful over there.
Beautiful area, yep.
You'll probably retire there, Barry. It's like old Florida over there. The reason you're so cold is because Barry is one of the few native Floridians.
Yeah,
That's right. All right, well, listen, give Attorney Barry Siegel and the Siegel Law Group a call now. Make sure you mention you heard Barry on the radio so you can take advantage of the no-charge consultation. The number is toll-free, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. That's SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, thanks for coming by.
Thank you for having me today, Brian.
All right, appreciate it. And we'll just continue on, Mike, okay? All right, yeah, all right. Okay, thanks. And Barry's going to record some new commercials, and we'll have some stuff while the show is going on. Okay, let's, got you back, Steve? Okay, good. All right, our number, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Jack from Sarasota again. How are you?
Hey, Jack.
What's up?
Is this the guy, hey, Steve, I don't know if you've talked to Jack. Are you the idiot that thinks that Trump wasn't shot?
No.
Okay, that's another guy. Okay, because there's another guy. I think his name's Jack too. Okay, go ahead. Oh well.
Well, I was wondering if you had a chance to go over the interview with Mark Levin.
With Trump?
Yes.
I've not seen the whole thing. The only part I have seen is when he talked about how Barron found out that he got shot. Other than that, I haven't seen it. No.
Well, I'm wondering if you heard or if you agree or disagree with his statement about how he was talking about his poll numbers in relation with the presidential election and how he had every right to do.
What? Do I agree with with what about his poll numbers?
Well, when Trump said it was poll numbers go up, and when whoever heard you get in hearing with the president,
yeah,
every right to do it. What do you feel about that statement about Mr.
Well, I'm confused now. It's not President Trump that is talking about the polls going up. Nate Silver, who is the gold standard of all the media, the latest Nate Silver prediction is giving Trump the Electoral College victory. So that's not an opinion of mine or Donald Trump. That's the gold standard of polling, Nate Silver.
The last one.
Well, this is what I know. This is what I know. Okay, I know that in 2000, Al Gore took several months before he stopped going to courts when that election was over. So was Al Gore guilty of election interference? Should he be indicted, or should he have been indicted?
Is it too late to?
Well, no, it's not, because the laws are made up by the current Justice Department. They charge people that have immunity with crimes. They charge people with federal crimes in local courts like they've been doing with Donald Trump. So something like statute of limitations wouldn't get in the way. But in 2000 and 2001, would you have supported Al Gore being indicted because he didn't concede on election night that he lost Florida and the election? Or was he committing election interference when he brought a team of lawyers to Florida and demanded hand recounts throughout the state? And by the way, he went to Democrat counties only to do recounts. Broward County, Palm Beach County.
I believe that if a grand jury determined that if he had...
A grand jury?
In New York. If a grand jury presented evidence and they said...
Oh, okay. So you think Al Gore should have been indicted. What about, who's that Democrat that... Excuse me. Who's that Democrat that keeps running for governor of Georgia? You know what I'm talking about, Steve? The black woman that keeps running. She says that she won 2 elections ago. She still... You know what I'm talking about?
The one Star Trek?
Yeah, she was on Star Trek. She played president. She played. Stacy, what's her name? Stacy, what's her name? Abram. She says that she's the governor of Georgia from 2 elections ago. Should she be indicted?
What do you think about Mark Levin?
No, that's not an answer. That's a question.
What?
Huh? Yeah, what are you talking about? I know.
If there's a grand jury...
Oh, if there's a grand jury. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, okay. Sure. So you want to... So anyone who challenges an election in court, you want to bring a grand jury and bring charges against them?
If there is evidence that some...
What crime did Trump commit? What crime has Donald Trump committed? Oh, you don't know? Okay. Well, then good. I appreciate it. All right. It's time for a bottom of the hour break. Oh, my goodness. No, that is the guy who thinks Trump didn't get shot. He's a little more sober today, so he didn't want to own that one. All right. It's 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Steve's here. We'll be right back. Oh. Okay. Are we not ready? It's okay. I can hit it. There we go.
Feel great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Yeah, Stacey Abrams, yes.
Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club. A service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. The poker room at PBKC is open every day for cash games, high hands, mega bad beat jackpots, and exciting tournaments like the $100,000 guaranteed Monster Multi-Flight Tournament coming up this week, September 5th through the 8th. Visit our newly expanded table game area with Ultimate Texas Hold'em and 3-card poker with just a $5 minimum 7 days a week. PBKC is your entertainment destination. Go to pbkennelclub.com.
This is John from Lighthouse Medical Center, CFO and Director of Neuropathy. We want to welcome you to Lighthouse Medical Center this year. It's our 75th anniversary, and we've been able to help a lot of patients. We want to be able to help you with your neuropathy issues as well. If you have numbness, burning, pain, tingling, lack of sleep, or balance issues, please come see us and let us help you with that problem. There's hope out there for you. We've had thousands of patients come through Lighthouse Medical Center. Being able to see the quality improved in their life and being able to help them and their family has been a blessing.
Oh, my goodness.
For the next 75 years. We don't just treat neuropathy at Lighthouse Medical Center. We have a specialized knee pain program with non-surgical solutions for bone-on-bone and knee pain issues. We also treat chronic back pain, ankle, knee, hip, and shoulder pain. Call for a free consultation.
Is to make sure that those soldiers is morally indefensible. He didn't care. It was all about him. He's a military impersonator.
At the biostation West Delray, Dr. Mitch Matez, an expert in hormone replacement therapy, is here to help you retain your youth. Hormone replacement therapy is all natural and can restore your hormones to where they were in your 20s. Even get your sex drive back. And for women, hormone replacement pellet therapy can completely stop and reverse the signs and symptoms of menopause. No more mood swings, better sleep, and no more night sweats. Call Dr. Matez for a free consultation today at 561-320-8893.
Yeah, Stacey Abram. Yeah.
That's 561-320-8893.
Tom Laporta here from Laporta Contracting, Roofing, and Building Restoration. I am pleased to say our relationship with the Steve Kane Show and the show's listeners keeps getting stronger and stronger. The Steve Kane Show listeners are truly the best customers we have ever had. They are courteous, intelligent, honest, and quite a joy to work with. We have completed thousands of projects for the listeners, from repairs, single-family homes, large HOA complexes, and churches, with great success, and every one of those customers are like family. We have installed all kinds of roofs, from asphalt shingles, clay, and concrete tile, standing metal seam, slate tile, and flat roof systems. So come on, and let our family take care of your family. Call me on my cell at 954-604-4602, or find us on the web at laportacontracting.com. The number again is 954-604-4602.
Is low T keeping you on the bench? Become the superstar you dream of being at Game Day Men's Health. With expert licensed staff trained with clinical research, Game Day Men's Health crafts a playbook specialized for you to raise your testosterone levels and reach peak performance. Rejuvenate, energize, and feel like a champion with increased muscle mass and libido. Call 561-355-5341 or online at GameDayMen'sHealth.com/palm-beach-gardens. Score big at Game Day Men's Health.
Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive? Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire in Margate on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30. Call for a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years of...
All righty, we are back. I'm Brian. Steve is here, and a lot going on. Okay, Steve, this weekend was the most disastrous weekend ever for a presidential campaign. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, it was disaster after disaster. Did you see this thing with Megyn Kelly interviewing the soldiers that served with Tim Walz? Oh, my goodness. Now, I will say, I'm going to play you the audio, but Megyn Kelly did a great interview. She had these guys that served with Tim Walz, including the man who had to replace him when he abandoned his unit when they went off to combat. And Megyn Kelly did a great job with everything except one thing. She did not have them mic'd up properly. So they're all off mic. And the audio sucks, but I'm going to play it anyway. And I'm going to turn it up loud. And I apologize. Believe me, Megyn Kelly, she fired somebody, right? I mean, when you have something this big, you have like 4 microphones. You know what I mean? And you do all kinds of air checks and everything else. So I don't know what's happening. Maybe she has her husband doing the sound, the guy that's a writer. Didn't sell a book till he married her. But anyway, I'm going to play this interview, and it's Megyn Kelly. She's sitting there with 4 guys. They're talking about the stolen valor of Tim Walz. And again, I apologize for the audio, but hey, it's Megyn Kelly's fault, but it's worth it. Listen.
Is morally indefensible. He didn't care. It was all about him. He's a military impersonator.
I don't understand how he could do it morally, or he's got absolutely no integrity.
The rumor went across the state that he had quit, and it was like, who the hell does that? I mean, it was just unbelievable that a CSM abandoned his troops, 500 soldiers basically, but beyond that, there's 1,000 parents out there that expect that person to lead those people into combat.
He's a habitual liar. He lies about everything. He lies about stuff that doesn't make sense. You're taking a piece of their thunder and you're trying to capture it and put it in a bottle for yourself and use that for your own benefit.
He basically said, I've got better things to do. Go pick somebody else to go on a mission. Well, if you sold out your guard unit and abandoned them, I mean, what are you going to do at the national level?
Fear is a reaction. Bravery is a decision. And Walz has made the wrong decision.
Okay, so there's just a clip, and again, she didn't have any of them mic'd up. I don't know who didn't turn the mic. Her mic's fine, but their mics are off. You can still hear them. They're all talking about stolen valor. This is worse than the swift boating guys with John Kerry, because when he was running for president in 2004, that stuff was like a long time ago, right? It was like 30 years before. This is stuff in the last few years. This is much more current. You understand what I mean? So, and that war is just over. We have the Gold Star families over the weekend in support of Trump. So it's more devastating than Tim Walz because it's much more recent, and it's brutal. On top of that, just with Tim Walz over the weekend, you have this. You have his motorcade got into a car accident yesterday. Multiple people in his motorcade injured. One had a broken arm. He didn't even stop to see how they were. He just went on to the event, gave a speech like nothing happened. Didn't even check in with any of them. Okay? He's a great guy, Tim Walz. Before that, he's at the state fair, and a reporter comes and asks him to comment on the 6 Jews that were murdered by Hamas, including an American citizen. She's standing right in front of him. He's looking at her. She asks the question, he walks away, like he didn't hear it, because he doesn't want to alienate the jihadi supporters they have in Michigan. And then on top of all of that, his brother, Tim Walz's brother, came out and said, you cannot Yeah, oh my goodness. Tim Walz's brother came out and said, I'm his brother. I know him. You cannot trust him. He is dangerous. Do not vote for him. And that's Tim Walz's brother, okay? So, yeah, it's everywhere. I mean, you know, so Tim Walz is new to the world. So those of you out there that are Democrats, you don't know Tim Walz. You've heard of him for like a month, maybe, right? His own brother says he's dangerous. You can't trust him. Don't vote for him. And his brother said that he's open to appearing at a Trump rally telling everybody about him. So, I mean, that's a pretty rough weekend for Tim Walz. and that doesn't even get into the problems that Kamala has had, which we'll see if we even have time before the end of the show to cover some of those. All right, 1-888-465-2631. And if you've noticed, every Democrat who's called today wants to talk about, all of a sudden, all they do is want to talk about Trump. Trump this, Trump that. They don't want to talk about Kamala. They don't want to talk about Tim Walz. They just want to talk about Trump, the Democrats. In fact, one Democrat called in today and said the show is stale. You talk about Trump too much. I tried to talk to him about Kamala and Tim Walz, and all he wanted to talk about was Trump. So, you know, things are not going well. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Newfield. Hey, Brian. Hi, Steve. How are you today? When we see these anecdotal evidence, I don't know if you saw the Gold Star families talking about how they still have never heard from Biden or Kamala.
Oh, well, that was brutal because Kamala Harris and the Democrats made up this whole narrative that Trump stormed into Arlington during this Gold Star event, that Donald Trump's staff had even gotten into a physical altercation with Arlington staff members. And then the Gold Star families come out and just we invited him. And she said that Kamala and Biden haven't spoken to them once in person or on the phone.
This is amazing. You're a commander-in-chief, but you're also the consoler-in-chief, too, at times.
Mm-hmm.
Kamala, Tim Walz, Joe Biden, they don't give a damn about the American people at all.
No.
Political power, and that's all it is.
Now, the South American people, that's another story. They're all about them.
Well, these stories that are breaking now about these complexes being invaded and taken over, this is very troubling. Are we about to see a huge uptick in the crime wave in this country?
Well, this is what I know. Where are you calling me from?
Deerfield Beach.
Okay, you're in Deerfield Beach. Okay, you know, these apartment buildings in Chicago are like the ones in New York. There's so many people in them. Some of those buildings have as many people living in them that live in the entire city of Margate. I mean, these are big buildings. But in Deerfield, you know, when I think about this, okay, because this apartment building in Chicago that is under siege by the Venezuelan gang members, total media blackout. When you go to the beach in Deerfield and you go just east of US 1 on Hillsborough Boulevard, you know, right before the drawbridge, they have like those apartment buildings. Those are tiny miniatures compared to the ones in Chicago, right? If a group of Venezuelan gangs stormed into that building on the Intercoastal Waterway in Deerfield, every news station in America would cover it, and Deerfield would be, you wouldn't be able to see the sky. There'd be so many news helicopters covering it. Why are they not covering this this story out of Chicago and Colorado?
A democratic city and a sanctuary city.
Yeah, and the people inside the building in Chicago, unlike the people in the high-rise in Deerfield, they're all black, and the Democrats don't care about black poor people.
No, not at all. I hope these poor black people who are Democrats begin to realize this. Now, as far as dealing with this issue, at what point you have your local police? Do the National Guard become involved in something like this?
Well, the police care. If you were a cop in Chicago, or even a SWAT team guy in Chicago, would you go after the Venezuelan gang at the high rise? I don't think so. Yeah, and they're like it's like going in there after ISIS. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. All right, take care. Now, I want to tell you guys about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser wave pain treatment. Dr. Appleton's absolutely amazing. He's rid me of pain 5 times. You've heard me talk about it. His laser wave pain treatment, The reason it works so well, the reason my pain has not returned, the first pain he rid me of was 2 years ago, is because his laser treatment repairs the damage that's actually causing the pain. It works on every type of pain I've ever heard of: arthritis, bronchial neuralgia, bursitis, hip pain, knee pain, lumbar pain, herniated disc, strains and sprains, tinnitus, tennis elbow, stenosis, and a whole bunch of others. Plantar fasciitis, all these, any pain I've ever heard of. It works. Give him a call. Remember, Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself, and appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are always welcome, even on Saturdays. Give him a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning.
All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report, our first one of the week. How are the metals this Tuesday, William Youngerman?
Metals are slightly lower, but doing very well, well supported, and the market for gold overnight and this morning has traded in a range of $2,484 on the low, up to $2,507 on the high. And currently we're at $24.95.50. That's down $3.60. Silver's down 7 cents at $28.45 the ounce, while platinum is down $14 at $912, and palladium's down $19 at $945. The U.S. dollar index right now at 101.72. That index, once it gets below 100, I believe we'll see new highs for gold, and that's not that far away. So keep an eye on that also. The U.S. dollar is certainly in its weakest stands that we've seen in quite a while. So that gold, and will push gold much higher.
Now, can you tell people who can't make it into your shop, that are maybe they're in another part of town and can't make it in, or another part of the country or the world, how can they do their transactions with you over the phone? How does that work?
Sure, it's very easy. You just call us up, lock in the prices of what you want to buy, and either wire the money or overnight a check, and it gets shipped fully insured wherever you're at and wherever you want it to go.
Absolutely, and that's for all the metals, by the way. And if you're local and you can make it in, you should, because William Youngerman's is literally a museum, and once you walk in, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. He's located in Boca, just east of US 1 Federal Highway, on the south side of Palmetto Park Road, on the first floor of the Bank of America building. When you go into the building, he's right across from the bank lobby. The address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca. His phone number, toll-free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. And you can find both his phone number and address on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow. All right, take care. All right, we are back, and we'll go back to the phones, which have been very busy today, I guess because of the holiday, Labor Day. Let's go. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Chris from Coral Springs.
Hey, Chris.
How you doing? I just want to say glory to be God, Father, and Son. But aside, so with the whole immigrant thing being taken on in Chicago and Colorado, when will the ATF step up and take charge instead of going after American citizens?
Well, because they're run by Democrats, and I wouldn't call them immigrants. I mean, on 9/11, when Al-Qaeda attacked us, they were living here, but would you call them immigrants? I mean, that was terrorism, right?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, calling them immigrants is really a disservice. I mean, Melania is an immigrant. That nice lady from Canada that called me earlier was an immigrant.
I misspoke, but are they illegals or are they naturalized citizens?
Well, I know the report. We don't have specifics in Chicago. In Aurora, Colorado, they're saying illegal Venezuelan gang members. But even if they are legal in the country, it is illegal to take guns into an apartment building and take it over and hold the residents hostage and demand money from them. That's, no matter what their immigration status is, that's illegal, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But I'll tell you this: if they were U.S. citizens, the news wouldn't be covering it up. It's being covered up to protect Kamala.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All right, take care. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Steve and Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, Steve. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I was thinking about Comrade Kamala Akbar and her ungrateful China Walz partner, and looking for that Gaza terrorist vote. And it's just pretty.
It is.
Now they're not only looking for that vote, they're looking for the Venezuelan mafia hit squad vote.
Mm-hmm.
It's I just can't, and the people, I'm sick of being upset at Renee and Jersey J and a few other idiots that call this place. Will call into the, but said Brian, to hear from these people, because it gives us a perspective. When Jersey J said Jewish. I almost threw. I just wanted to scream. Plus the just not caring about, which whites. Whites from the Union Army, along with blacks, fought the Confederacy. Just the complete abandonment of history. But this is something that the Democrats do. And when I look at this Democrat Party, or let's say a Democrat city like Philly or Baltimore, St. Louis, Missouri, whatever, that's basically the Gaza Strip.
It's crazy. The story in Chicago, of the Venezuelan gangs. The reason it came out is there were people, and if you're wondering what we're talking about, 32 armed Venezuelans took over an apartment building in Chicago last night. This became public not because of the news. People in Chicago that monitor the police radios picked up the calls. Okay, and listen, these are the radio calls. I'm going to play them for you now in Chicago. Hold on, hold on. Oh, they won't play for me now. Of course, after that, I'll re-queue it up and play it. But I played them a couple times earlier. But the point of it is the story leaked out, right? This is not something. It's been suppressed, and we only found out about it by accident.
Correct. They don't report the things, just like the bus story out of San Diego. There's there's so many stories like that, and it's infuriating that they don't get reported. But when I look at the Democrat cities and I look at the Gaza Strip, it's the same mentality. The insanity of it all. The Gaza Strip. They literally spent many years, billions upon billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of man hours, construction hours, building like 1,000+ tons to the ground for one purpose. They did all that for one purpose: to invade Israel and massacre these people. And you've got to look at that time and effort and all the money, the sickness that these people.
Well, how can we expect the Democrats to defend Israel when they're not defending people in Aurora, Colorado, and Chicago? Now if the Venezuelan gangs took over an apartment building in Kiev, Ukraine, they'd be all over that.
Yeah,
they'd stop that.
They would stop it.
Yeah. You've gone too far. You MS-13.
The Gaza Strip should be like Monaco East, Monaco Part 2, with all the money and the man hours of construction. They could have built a museum.
Yeah. Well, all right, I appreciate the call. So let me play this. These are the police scanner radio calls that some of the locals in Chicago picked up. Now, there's some dead air between some of these, but this is how the story in Chicago leaked out, is from this.
Unit 3, Citywide Prison with a gun, 6124 South King Drive. Caller says 32 Venezuelans are trespassing the building, showing guns in the courtyard, and they have motorcycles.
This is like out of the Road Warrior, so 32. This is the radio call. 32 armed Venezuelans on motorcycles have taken the building. My goodness.
Unit 3, Citywide Prison with a gun, 6124 South King Drive. Caller says 32 Venezuelans are trespassing the building, showing guns in the courtyard, and they have motorcycles in the courtyard as well. Also, they're filled. Nothing further, zone clear.
That's the first one. A little dead space, and the next one will come up.
Hey, I'm sorry. You headed over to the shop letter to the 6124 in King for the migrants?
The migrants.
Okay, good. All right, 10-4. There's another available unit to arrive at 310. We had multiple calls. First with the gun, 6124 South King. Also came over to disturbance large gathering. Could be 32 Venezuelans trespassing in the building property, showing guns in the courtyard. They have motorcycles in the courtway, all 0 filled. And nothing further.
Oh my goodness! I mean, you know, if I'm the police, I'm stopping off at the donut shop. I'm not going there. I mean, if you are a regular police officer in Chicago, first off, you're probably a Democrat and you support all this, you know, sanctuary city nonsense. But what kind of police officer could have any hope or prayer against this? I mean, these aren't gang members. These are terrorists, is what you're dealing with here. This is not a normal situation that's going on here. And, you know, as we've been on the air this morning, this story was the #1 trending story on Twitter, on X this morning. I haven't found any mainstream stories about it, okay? And I've been searching while the show's been going on. If any of you have or see anything, you can DM them to me. We're almost out of time. But anyone who is in the media knows about this. This, what happened with how this story came about was, part of it I told, was the somebody monitoring the local police radios on an app in Chicago heard it. And they took the calls and posted it online. And then Libs of TikTok got a hold of it. Libs of TikTok is one of the most widely viewed Twitter accounts. And Libs from TikTok posted the audio that I've been playing today. In fact, I've been playing it from Libs of TikTok. And because Libs of TikTok shared the audio, over 6.5 million have heard it just from Libs of TikTok since last night. And I've been searching through the media, no stories on this. Anyone that is in the media, the national media, is familiar with this story and have chosen not to run with it if they've not aired the story. This is, you know, media bias isn't just, you know, a spin on a story. It's what stories they choose to report and what stories they choose not to report to. And the most serious cases of media bias or fake news is by news stories they do not report. And, you know, Chicago is one of the big media hubs. New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami. All of the national media have top people in Chicago. They could be all over this story all day, but they have chosen not to because they're Venezuelan. We don't know the immigration status of these people. They haven't been apprehended yet, but it's been reported, as it's been playing, that they're Venezuelan gang members. Okay? They're not reporting the story because it does what? It holds Kamala Harris accountable because she is the border czar. So we're in it's a Tuesday, but it's the beginning of the week, and there's nothing but bad story after bad story for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And I didn't even get to the Gold Star family stuff today. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? One call per day. One call per day. Well, then don't do it. No. One call per day. It's the rule. If I let you get away with it, everybody will get away with it. I should not have taken that last call. The show's almost over anyway, but I thought I'd squeeze one more in. All right, listen. That's all the time we have for today. It's only Tuesday, and already, you know, which is really, it feels like Monday because we were off yesterday. There's an overwhelming amount of just terrible news, but we'll cover the rest that I did not get to tomorrow, maybe, unless there's a bunch of disasters that happen today that'll, you know, force us to put these stories off. But the Kamala Harris campaign is, I would normally say on life support, but I think it's beyond that. I think it's flatlined. It's so bad that you can't even get a pulse from it. That's why she's pretending to talk on the telephone when she walks by the reporters. That's all the time we have for today. I'm Brian Craig. Steve has been here. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 47 years on the radio. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. And don't forget, if you ever miss a portion of the show, about an hour after we sign off, the entire show is uploaded online as a podcast on our radio station website, TrueOldiesFLA.com. See you tomorrow, 6 a.m.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar.
I hit it. I hit it.
3.1 HD3.
Team viewer crashed out.
Oh, I hit it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like-
All right, guys. I got to get out of the way here, but if you're new, subscribe, all right? See you later.